long time no see.
I know. It's been a minute, guys. How's it been?
Yeah, how's everyone doing? It's been only a few minutes. Okay, this is our 175th episode. I don't know if we need to do many more introductions, but we're going to talk about I wonder if this needs to be... talk about East Chicago, Mike's home area. So should be some good...
Just got an interesting call today. I got a text from Bobby Joe Maldonado and asked if I want to be the backup announcer on the Big Mike. The relief.
Oh, geez. That's some big... oops, I better change that. Yeah, it's going to be some... That's big big things. You're moving up, doing semi-state.
Asked him if I can get, a free ticket and a floor pass because they run that like the security. Yeah. But top flight security down there. He told me he'd give me some food and a T-shirt, extra medium, so I'm not eating dinner tonight.
Yeah, nice. That's good. Yeah, it's funny because I'm getting press credentials for people, and everyone has a little bit different a way of getting them, and so I just text Bobby Joe, and he got me my guy's credentials. So
oh man, and I think Bobby Joe and his dad Pablo and those guys really helped run that semi-state, and they run it well. It's really cool. They do a good job. I mean, it's not the Maryville semi-state. Maryville was a little bit more jam-packed, a little tighter, a little bit more shoulder to shoulder. It was basically in a regular gym.
Yeah,
but they did do a good job. Maryville did an amazing job for the finals. EC's a really good basketball gym. It's a huge gym. I don't know if it's as good for wrestling, but the wrestling's really good there, and there's some good food around there, and it's a little, it feels a little dangerous. Don't feel dangerous to me, but I can see what people feel like they're going to get in and get out of there.
Yeah. Ken Joel asked who the announcer was. It's the guy, he was the one that did the consolation round last year.
For the state finals?
For the state finals, yes. So
he does a good job.
Yeah.
Is his name? What is his name? Is it Mosier?
I don't think that's him. It might be. I don't know. I don't want to. We need to figure it out, though. Yes, we will have that suit. I mean, yeah, he does a good job. It's going to be different without Whitehead. I mean, he did it for 40 some years, and that's one of those things that you never, man, it's hard to imagine a state finals without him announcing. So
I'm trying to get these extra tamales, couple of chorizo tacos in the morning, maybe.
Yes.
What's the first bracket we got?
We have heavyweight. That's...
Oh.
Oops. You don't want to see my Facebook.
I think, they do a good job running it. I mean, it's different because, dude, and Maryville was tight. And, yeah, they didn't let you bring in coolers, and there wasn't a lot of room to warm up. And you definitely felt like you needed to take 2 showers when you got out of there. But... man, like atmosphere-wise, it was amazing. It was an amazing atmosphere. A lot of tough wrestling at East Chicago. I couldn't imagine it anywhere else. There's not like really a centralized location for the semi-state. We don't have a cool stadium like Fort Wayne. We don't have a cool stadium like Evansville. I wish we did. I wish there was something that was as cool as that. For us, we don't have it. You guys take all the tax-paying money that we have.
Nice.
But
we're straight hitting politics hard tonight.
I know, man. So it's what we have, man. It's the best that we got, and we love it. There's going to be a lot of excitement there. There's a good chance there's going to be a fight there at some point. I think I've been there a couple times and seen some punches get thrown, which, I mean, doesn't win you any matches. But at least you can tell your kids, they kicked you out because you threw some punches.
Saving a seat. I mean, you get close to your friends or enemies.
Chicago, it's not as tight. I mean, you don't have to really save seats. Dude, Maryville was tight until the semis after the ticket round because they let those bottom bleachers come out, and then it was like loose. But man, how the fire marshal never came in there, I have no clue. I seen guys, and I remember like the mats were pretty close to the fans, and they would have these like wood poles with like ropes, and like that. I don't think that's stopping people from going through, you know. But it sucked to warm up there. It sucked to cut weight there, like in the wrestling room. Maryville is probably one of the nicest wrestling rooms in the state.
Oh yes.
But man, it's pretty cool that those guys are able to help out. And I know Bobby Joe, Pablo Maldonado, I think he's the tournament director there. It's a good time, man. They got a lot of good people. There's a lot of people from the region helping out, which is always really cool.
Yeah, no, that should be a good time, and you know, obviously some great wrestling always there, heated rivalries and all that good stuff. So, Union's stacking. Yeah, hey. Stroke the check and let the Unions get a new facility. Yeah, I honestly, we were talking beforehand off the air, and I'm like, it sounds like Evansville's really excited about, you know, hosting, and they're pulling out, you know, they're having the Fan Fest type place, and that's kind of cool. And I'm like, I wouldn't really mind it, you know, changing, you know, go Fort Wayne, Indy, Evansville, you know, if there's a big enough venue that can host it, that'd be kind of cool to go different places. Enjoy, you know, I've never been to Evansville, so
you can say what I said. Let's keep it out of the north, man. I like a little weekend away.
Yeah,
you know. I wouldn't want to host it. I swear I don't think we have a venue to host. In the region, I don't think the Civic Center is big enough. I know people have suggested that in the past, but man, it's tough.
Yeah,
man. If Rex was official at Maryville, he's a little tougher than I thought he was, man. Wow. I thought he was a little bit soft. He got some bonus points tonight. Because man, some of those matches are turning into fist fights too. But it's one of the things, and I'm sure we'll talk about it with some of the regionals. I never, like before, we'd always talk about, you know, like region style. I hear that when I go out style. You guys wrestle that region style. And then you sit back and watch, and it is a lot like more physical style. And I think that not enough of those teams come up to the region and see that. So like when they get hit with that early on, they're kind of, I mean, region style could have been like, you know, Hobart. There's your Facebook again, Joe.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
I think that region style is, you know, really a tough, aggressive, like, you know, put a pace on people. Like you're gonna see guys gassing in the third round and a third period, and you're like not surprised. So that was always the style that we thought there. Man, the first year was East Chicago. I pulled up. And there was like some kids, and I don't know where they're from. I'm not going to out any, but I did see Corey Kavanaugh's dad. We were talking about it. They have They have trains that sit right there, train cars, and like people, they're all graffitied up because it's East Chicago, and or Gary, and maybe they went through Gary and came to East Chicago. We can blame Gary if we want, but they were sitting there, and like people were climbing on them to take pictures. And I remember thinking, like, those are not locked out trains. Like, you have no clue. Those could just move. Those could just be moving. Like, you guys don't have trains by you? But it's, you know, it's definitely an exciting day of wrestling, and it's a lot of good people, man. And going to Hobart last week for the regional, which was really cool. It was a really tight race. I got to see a lot of people that I'm going to see this week. And, you know, obviously I go out to Crown Point a good amount. I see those guys, and then we're pulling the South Bend guys, and those guys are all really cool too.
Yeah.
They're the Logansport guys. My guys from Logansport always giving me tacos. I love it.
Mike never turns down tacos.
Never, man. Love tacos.
Never turn down tacos, never turn down taco bets. Two rules to live by.
Take all taco bets. I'll tell you that. It's like one of the best things about having it in East Chicago is there is so much good Mexican food there.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah, there's... Yeah.
Jason Miller will fight me if I don't tell everybody. El Taco Real, you got to go to El Taco Real. It's pretty good. Adrian's, if you go to Adrian's to get pork nachos, make sure you bring cash. If you're coming from a far distance and you want good pizza, we're really close to Chicago. We have some of the best pizza in the state.
Yep. And you got pizza puffs.
Oh, and if you just stop at a Luke's, you can get a pizza puff, man. They're a little greasy. I've been trying Joe's method with the air fryer and the pizza puffs. It's just not the same. You got to have an extra grease to cut through that. Yeah. And my guy Artie Fowler in here, if you guys want to stop by the tavern, go get the after party. My guy's spinning discs. Hardy's a one-man party, man. Don't play games. I don't know where he's spending. Go to his Facebook. You can check him out. Just click. So if you guys are staying over the night, go check out Hardy wherever he's at.
Nice. Hey, maybe we need to have him as DJ at like the state finals.
Dude, he'll tear it up, man. He knows what he's doing. The tamales are fire, man.
Yeah. So, well, I saw a comment by Mr. Clark about who should be taking a zipline ride, so I think we need to start at 106.
106 pounds, sir.
So, we'll start at heavyweight, so Clark can go to bed early. He must get up early or something. I don't know. So, this is gonna be a great weight class. This is a really good weight class, real deep in the region. Brady Beck,
yeah.
Rochester senior, couple-time medalist. You 2-time medalist, right? Yes. He has Raymond James, Maryville. Never count out a Maryville heavyweight. They always have good heavyweights. Sergio Lorenzo from Logansport and Colin Foy from Hanover Central. So, 2 state-ranked guys, 3 guys with regional rankings or semi-state rankings.
Yeah, Raymond James was in the state rankings to start off. He kind of had a slow start to the season for Maryville. Welcome back to the East Chicago Regional Rochester, right?
Yeah.
I know. I seen someone giving me a little bit of a hard time talking about me and Travis Horn back in 2000. That did happen. Travis beat me there. He's pretty good. Travis is really good. Unfortunately, we both had Eric Key, so I'm sure we had the same feeling. I had to get it around earlier than he did, but Rochester, welcome back. God's country, man.
Yep. According to some Rochester kids still go to Fort Wayne, though.
Yeah, they might want to make sure they're going west, not east.
Yeah, maybe Clint Guard needs to make sure he gets the memo which kids go to Fort Wayne, which ones go to East Chicago, because that'd be kind of not a good day if you send the wrong kid to the wrong area.
I feel, that would be terrible. That'd be the old Carroll. I'm at Carroll High School, Carroll, Florida, not Carroll, Fort Wayne. Where you guys at?
Yes.
Sergio, I think the Logansport Regional always produces pretty solid heavyweights. Sergio Lorenzo, ranked number 12 in the East Chicago semi-state. Has Colin Foy, number 6 in the state. Colin's really tough for Hanover Central. Really big kid, really good football player. Coach Bradbury's done a really good job there with those guys. I seen they had Stefan Michigan giving a little bit of a pep talk. We talked about it a little bit the other night. Like if I said there was one community that had 2 non-USA representatives representing different nations, you wouldn't have picked Hanover Central, Cedar Lake, Indiana. But they have Serbia and Nigeria going for Olympians. But he's really good. Just kind of ran into a buzzsaw the last 2 weeks with Paul Clark. I mean, Paul's a returning semifinalist. And then there's not really a good draw. There's probably one draw you want there. Brady Beck, returning medalist, 40-0. Is Brady the returning? Was he the Fort Wayne semi-state champ?
No, I do not believe he was, because I believe he lost to. I think Hinton was the champ. Yep, Hinton was the champ last year.
Moving up a weight class, so it'll be a good one. So those guys are going to jump right in the fire, man. They're going to, right off the bat, they're going to get some of these guys that are like Maryville, 11 losses in the Maryville schedule. You know, he's seen Paul Clark a couple times this year, or at least once. You know, they wrestle Al Smith, so that'll be a good one right off the bat. So make weight and then go to battle, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm eating a little bit of my dinner, which is Lucky Charms breakfast bar.
Just looking at Foy's losses, he has 3 to McNutt, 2 to Paul Clark, and 1 to Sid Rindfuss from Lowell. So some pretty good, losses. He has a win over Hastings, Krolowski. He's beaten Jurist a couple times. So he's had a good season, just not a good semi-state to run into.
It's tough, man. That tick around is no joke. He's a big guy and he moves really well.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be playing football in college.
Yeah, 3 guys here, we'll talk about it, but 3 guys here have state medals.
Clint Carr said he knows what direction they're heading.
So, 3 guys here have state medals, and then Poppy was a state qualifier last year. So you got 4 guys with state experience. That's going to be hard to crack. Ramus McNutt, Highland, 23-0. I know he had an injury, I assume, that held him out for part of the season, having a good you know.
Dude, I heard he just took a couple weeks off.
Oh, okay.
He just took a little bit of a break, and then he came back.
And doing pretty good. He has Brody Brown from Penn. He's number 19 in the state. And then Mitchell Krolowski from Wheeler. Number 7 in the semi-state. Jason Cook trained. And then Connor Murdzoff from Harrison.
Popey, right?
Popey's not right here yet. Oh, yes. Popey.
I know. But, let's start with this one. The fighting Jason Cooks now with Wheeler High School, right?
Yes.
Jason's getting some good gear out, man. He keeps sending me on Snap. Looks pretty good. Mitch Krokowski's a really big kid, too. Again, just kind of ran into Foy a couple times the last couple weeks. I believe he lost to Foy in the Lake County championships also, even though Wheeler's in Porter County. It's all right, though.
We won't tell anybody.
Brody Brown had a really nice win over Coolman. Or not over Coolman, but his backup had a nice win over Coolman. He's had some nice wins this year, junior. Robbins McNutt is super athletic. He's pretty small for the weight. I think that they said that at one point they thought about having him go 215. He just didn't want to cut any weight. He's probably walking around about 230. But, dude, he is strong. They were saying he squats over 600. Got huge legs. And it's really tough to, like, train for guys like that. The guys that move like that. I know Beck beat him this summer. So that could be possibly a pretty good semifinal if they both get there.
Yep. Yeah, I think Brett Smith's going to do a Poppy versus Popey match. At Evansville, so that should be good.
I was disappointed that Popey didn't have the mustache, man.
I know he's hopefully he's growing it out for the state run.
I mean, the mullet looked good, like right, it had a nice flow. You gotta get that mustache back. I think that's what stopped him at the Al Smith.
Yeah. So just to say before we get to this other half bracket that we obviously Popey and Beck were in the same bracket or same regional, so this everything got separated fairly well here. Obviously, you have 4 really good guys, and it came out. It could have been really ugly in a lot of different ways, so that's good to see. I got Alex Luna from McCutcheon, Chris Johnson, New Prairie, Tristan Machende from Portage, and Anthony Popey, returning state qualifier.
Yeah. Hold on. I think they wrestled this past. I think they wrestled at IPO, right? Popey and Machete.
No.
No, they did not. Oh,
no.
I thought they wrestled somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong.
We don't have the result if we did. Machete is number 10.
Popey's pretty solid. Returning state qualifier. I know he found his way through the semi-state last year. I think he was in the finals last year. I thought McNutt and Clark were on the same side of the bracket. But really, really good. And, I mean, as a 2, that's probably the one spot you want to go. You don't want to run into McNutt. You don't want to run into Clark coming out after you lost to Beck. Alex Luna, McCutcheon. McCutcheon's done a great job. Shout out to the McCutcheon staff for getting those guys. Their big guys are doing really well. I'm going to give all the credit to my guy, Brandon Barton, fan of the show. I don't know if Brandon's in there working with those guys for real or not. The heavyweight horse, that's true, man. That's what he put. He actually put that on his Al Smith finalist sheet last year. The heavyweight horse.
Nice.
Yeah. Chris Johnson, real tough heavyweight for New Prairie. Had a real tough. He had to beat Seth Rinfuss of Lowell to even qualify for the semi-state. So that'll be a good one right off the bat. Machete and Popey should be a good one. Yeah. Machete, I thought, had a really good summer in Nationals. I thought he did really well at Machete beat Popey first round of IPO, 5-1.
Oh, that's
I knew I had that.
According to Zachary Johansson, Machete is 2-0 over Popey. So see if he'll be 3-0.
So that could be a good one right off the bat. He's a pretty big kid, man. Porter's got some pretty good big guys.
Yeah. Last quarter bracket, Paul Clark, Crown Point, returning third place finisher, Kane Acton from Seeger, Job Maverick from Culver Academy, and Luke Juris from the Hobart Brickies fighting Johanssons.
He's wrestling really well. Job Maverick, is that his real? Is it really Job, or is this his typo? And if it's not, that should be his name going forward, right?
Yeah.
Some young guys in there with Paul Clark, but Luke Juris having a really good year for the Brickies. Just ran into a real tough Aramis McNutt. I mean, like I said, there's not a lot of guys that move like McNutt. It's tough to game plan that are that big, that strong. I mean, we used to talk about it with Gielan a little bit. It's like you think that you have a game plan, but once you get them out there, it's a little tougher. But Juris having a real solid year. Paul Clark having a really good year. His 3 losses are out of state.
Oh, Job. It's Job.
Job.
Like, okay. Job.
That
Job.
makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
Sorry, Lisa. I did that one time saying someone else's name at the Al Smith, and they said that I was wrong. I said, man, I thought it would be like the Bible. But Paul's having a really good senior year, having a really good career for the Bulldogs. I know that they have some guys that are behind those guys that they're real high on. But, man, you're going to lose 2 hammers at the end, right?
Yeah. Those guys are – those 2 closers up top is pretty heavy. So, I just want to say Luke Juris is – after Nate Johnson retires, Juris is going for the best mullet in the state. I am just absolutely floored that an upstanding community like Hobart would have people with mullets.
I'm going to say I don't think there's as many mullets in Hobart as you would think.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't. I'm trying to think. I mean, Joe Hansen teaches there. He would have a better idea, but you don't see as many mullets there.
I'm floored by that. So we'll go to 215. Starting up top here, you got Cole Chacoin, McCutcheon, returning state runner-up, Mike Zielinski, Chesterton, Malachi Evans, looks like a young Joe Caprino from Penn, and Josh Diaz from Hobart.
Diaz and Evans should be a good one. I think Evans beat him at Al Smith also, right? That was like one of the, I think one of the early matches that they were like, hey,
yeah.
like this was an upset. But that was a guy I was really impressed with at the Al Smith was Malachi Evans. I remember asking Coach Harper, like, where's this dude been? He's like, man, he's like a 190, wrestling 215. Our 190 is pretty good. I'm like, yep, he is pretty good.
Yes.
But what did he do? Let's see. Who did he beat at Al Smith? Yep, Josh Diaz, 9'8". So that'll be a good one in the first round to get to Cole Chacoin, who's having a phenomenal season. A guy that was ranked real low last year and has got on a really good run. Just keeps moving. That's a guy that just sets an incredible pace for a big guy. I don't know if he's committed to wrestle anywhere. I mean, I don't know if you had posted it, but if he's not, I think if he wants to continue wrestling in college, I think someone's going to get a really good guy that could probably develop into a really good heavyweight for a college.
Yeah, he's really jumped levels the past couple of years.
They said the stash is back in full effect. Let's go.
Yes, sir. So, next quarter bracket, Will Clark, Crown Point, Joseph Gutierrez from Harrison, Riken Reeder from Calumet, New Tech, Warriors, and Cameron Kaufman
let's go.
from Warsaw. Another guy I know we had a real good Al Smith. Unfortunately, Will Clark is good at wrestling, and that's not the draw you wanted.
Yeah, no, I know you don't want to draw a Calumet guy first round. It's tough, bro. I understand, that's not the draw you wanted. Now, Riken Reeder does a good job. I thought he wrestled really well at the regional. Cameron Kaufman was a guy that walked away from Al Smith like he could make some noise. Lost the regional championship to Alex Deming. And then, that's probably the draw you don't want. I mean, that's a really good bracket. The top 4 here are really good. I mean, even Everett McClellan's really tough. I mean, if you're not getting Will Clark, you're getting Cole Chacoin, I think but that could be an interesting match. I think both of those guys are pretty good at throwing people. Cameron Kaufman likes to throw people, and I don't think Will Clark's afraid to go upper body either. So that might be fireworks. It could also be dangerous.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, Kaufman has another year to go, and he can, get after it. Has nothing to lose, going after returning state champ, and crazy things always happen in the ticket round.
Man, I've seen state champs go home in that ticket round.
Yes.
I think seeding wise, like it didn't get seeded very well. If you took all the champs away from everybody, you would think that you want Chicoine and Clark on opposite sides of the bracket. There's gonna be a 215 out of another semi-state on Saturday afternoon when Joe's on the IHSAA Champions Network bracket reveals show. That's gonna be like, man, I'm a runner-up and I got Chicoine or Clark, the state runner-up or the state champ Friday night.
Yeah, that's not
gonna be a good one. Yeah, I was runner-up at the semi-state.
So going down, you got Alex Deming from Rochester. He is a returning state placer, 7th at 195. Dad's taking lots of good pictures for IndianaMat, so I appreciate that. Terrell Elmore from Maryville. And, Maryville has there's one thing I don't want to wrestle in these matches is a Maryville a big guy. Anyone?
Man, Rochester's starting off with 2 Maryville guys, heavyweight and 215, huh?
Yeah.
We're doing a little Maryville-Rochester duel going on.
I know. I didn't know Guard Maldonado set up a duel.
I know. Maybe they get invite to the Tom Cameron next year.
Yeah, maybe. That's a good event. Aiden Abad from Lowell, number 25 in the state, and Noah Hill, Faith Christian. So that should be a pretty solid quarter bracket.
Yeah.
I don't think they wrestle because Lowell used to be in the that same. I think Lowell and Rochester. Didn't they used to hit it like Plymouth or something?
I don't know. Was Rochester at Plymouth?
Rochester's at Plymouth this year.
I don't think they were there before. I know Mishawaka. I think Munster used to be there. Faith Christian, shout out to those guys, man. Really building the program up. I know they got into Team State this year. They're doing a lot of stuff, man. You know how hard it is to build from a small program like that. Getting some guys to semi-state. Aiden Abad, Dad, I think he wrestled at Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
Not a bad thing to have a Division I wrestler's kid in your room.
Yeah. Rochester was at Rochester before. Oh, okay. Yes.
And then Deming's really tough, man. If you go check out his dad's pictures, they're really good. He does a good job. What's his company's name?
Patriot Photography.
Patriot Photography. They do a really nice job, and got to see him at the Al Smith. I wish the whole Rochester crew was at Al Smith. That'd have been pretty cool. We could have seen some of these matchups and beforehand. But now we're going to wait to Chicago, maybe Saturday night.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be on the mic calling it. I don't know.
Maybe someone breaks an ankle. You're in there, man.
I think the dude just left last year. Like he was just bounced. He's just hey, I'm out of here.
So Bobby Joe's like, hey, we gotta get a backup here.
Join it for a T-shirt and a free ticket, man. That's how I live.
Nice. So last quarter bracket, Everett McClelland from Portage. As you said, they have some good big guys. Jonathan Neese from Laville. Man, that's a good quarter bracket. Landon Pickering, Delphi, and Jaden Bartozek from Hanover Central. So this is a good. I mean, this is a good weight overall, but this is a real good quarter bracket right here.
Yeah, Bartozek, I think he's had a couple wins over McClellan this year. Returning state qualifier for Hanover Central. Man, I wonder who's coaching the big guys because Bradbury's a little guy, and then Bobby Howard, I know, is a coach there. He's a pretty little guy. I don't know if they're rolling with Jaden at all. Man, Bradbury's tough, man. I think that he's one of the overlooked accomplishment coaches in the state. I think he's got 4 All-Americans, and I think he was an NAIA national champ?
Yeah. Yes, I believe so.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one. Nice is pretty tough. I know he's been there a couple times. Probably did not. I mean, the South Bend, the Penn regional was really tough with Deming and Kaufman, and then Malachi Evans. So, I mean, that's a really tough 4. And then you draw, McClellan, who's really good. And then the winner of that's going to get the winner of Pickering and Bartowskis. So,
yeah, McClellan was a regional champ last year and lost first round too, wasn't it? I believe it was. But
he was pretty excited to win the regional this year, right?
Yeah, well, that's a tough draw there. Obviously, any of those 4 out of Penn were pretty tough. So going down.
That'd be a tough 4 for anybody. I think I said just if you're a runner-up from another semi-state, you're not going to be looking forward to draw East Chicago at 215. That's a pretty good. It's a pretty good.
You're looking at Chicoine, Clark, Deming. There's 3 state medals right there. That's if they make it. I mean, and Bartosik was a qualifier last year, right?
Yeah.
So they're looking at 4 guys, or McClelland, who's pretty tough, or Nice, or that could. I mean, those 4. That's a pretty tough 4. I mean, that's not who Fort Wayne needs a draw there. So
no, I think those are pretty good guys there.
Yep.
Jason Cook. There was just some people that whenever they're talking about what top coaches like wrestling wise, they don't always use Jason. I don't know. I just had sleeping. Don't get angry.
Bartosik.
We got some wild names out here, man. We're a diverse community up here in the region.
Yes, you are. Yes, it is. So, 190, got Alexander Tatum from Hobart, freshman, having a real good season, regional champ at 190. It's not bad. A bad way to have start your career. Cohen Martin from Harrison, sophomore. They got pretty good. 2 seniors battling out here. Should be a good one. 7 and 8 in the semi-state. Aiden Ziegler, New Prairie, and Colin Wieland from Rochester. Mike, you didn't even agree with yourself here. You put the.
I know. I just seen that. Man, no. I'm not really sure what happened there, guys. Tatum's having a really good season for a freshman. He reversed a sectional loss and won the regional. I think Hobart had a pretty good day at the regional, reversing some of those matches. Ziegler and Wieland would be a good one. The guy that ranked the semi-state had Ziegler as the guy that does the state rankings thought Wieland was going to get it. But 2 seniors battling out first round for a shot at Tatum, or Martin. Harrison always brings some guys in, 4 and 3. I don't know if that's a typo. Maybe starts 0-0, but Harrison always brings some guys. I don't know if they still dye their hair blonde to come to semi-state, but they're usually pretty solid.
Yeah. Going down, you got 2 more. All guys have some numbers beside their names. Brock Finney from McCutcheon, Josiah Edmonds from Maryville, Troy Dunning from Mishawaka, and Austin Reading from Crown Point.
Reading lost the last 2 weeks to Bisping in pretty good matches. I think he's really good, man. And honestly, really tough. I seen that they had posted that I think his mom had gone in for some surgery. So not an easy time ever in your life to have something uncertain like that. And then you're also, maintaining weight, grinding through practice and dealing with at home stuff when you're, 15 years old, 17 years old. I think that's really tough. So hopefully to the Reading family, I hope that she's doing better. And for Austin, just knowing that his mom's going to be all right, I think is huge. But that'd be a good first round match with Trey Dunning. Dunning's a real impressive junior. I think he had a pretty good Al Smith also. I've been really impressed with Austin Reading the entire year. I know of his 5 losses, he took 2 at Ironman, 1 to Panola, and I think the other 2 to Bisping. Huge win for him at the Mount Carmel duel. Brock Finney's jacked, man. From McCutcheon, that dude's pretty big.
Yeah.
I think they're lifting weights at McCutcheon. So that'll be a good one, too. He was really impressive at the Harvest Classic when I seen him early on. I think he lost a match early at Mooresville and wrestled back pretty well, and I think reversed that loss. But again, Josiah Edmonds, pretty solid junior for Maryville.
Yeah, Reading has more than 5 losses per our calculations. 1, 2,
yeah,
3,
I was going to say,
5,
I thought there was
6,
a couple
7,
other
8.
ones.
I have 10.
Yeah, I was going to say, he had to have taken some losses at Carnahan, right? That'd probably be 2.
Carnahan.
And then,
because he wrestled at Ironman too.
That's
There's
4.
4. Lost to Panola at Al Smith. Lost
2 to
Bisping
the last 2 weeks.
Then he had a rough team state. McConnell,
Yeah,
Henry, and Jalen Young. So yeah.
Yep.
I was looking at that. I'm like, he doesn't have 5 losses. No one on the.
I got the Z's, man. I see you. Don't sleep on them. Don't look past them. Don't be looking at the ticker around. I see you, Trey. I like it.
Going down, speaking of Kenneth Bisping, only one loss on the year at the Al Smith Finals. Having a real good senior year. Tavion Lee from South Bend, Washington. Stefan Jokic from Lake Central. And Zach Gilger from West Central. So Bisping looking to punch his ticket after qualifying as a sophomore.
Yeah, I think he's good, man. He sets a good pace. I thought at some point he'd go to 75, but they thought about not cutting weight, but thought his style translated to 90 a lot better, and he's done a really good job. I think he's really tough. Wrestles hard, works hard. I know some of the South Bend schools are closing. I'm not sure which ones. I don't know if Washington, Clay, I think is one, right?
Is Clay is. I don't know exactly what's going on there. That's going to be a jumbled mess in the next couple of years, but I know they've had some meetings, and I'm not even going to try to think about that right now. Just Clay closing.
I mean,
according to
fighting
Virgo.
Isaiah McWilliams, I don't like it, man. I want to see Washington stay in there. Hope they don't close that one. Yeah. Just Clay, Chris Vargo said.
Yeah. Fortunately, Clay has a ton of history too of wrestling.
Yeah, they do. I think Bisping gets through there. That first round match with Jokic and Gilliger is going to be pretty good, though. Two seniors going at it.
So, last quarter bracket, Vinny Freeman from Penn, sophomore, state placer, 6th last year. Samuel Pressler, Laporte, Weston Maddox from Frontier, and Darius Beeson from River Forest. Beeson is not ranked, right? I know he was. No, he has a profile, but
I thought he was in the semi-state rankings, though.
He is not.
Not
he was at one time, because I know I put him in there. And
yeah, he had a huge win at the Harvest Classic over Chad Washburn.
Yeah. So that was he's one I just know because when I copy all the stuff from track wrestling, his name I always got to figure out do I have an apostrophe in there? Do I just have it one? That's
a misstep by me. He's really good, super athletic. Like I said, he had that huge win early on over Chad Washburn. I know he had a couple losses at Connorsville. This is a tough one. I don't think he wrestled Vinny at the Harvest, but Vinny Freeman's he's super good, and I think this is when he starts getting a lot better. I thought he peaked last year at during the state series, and again, like we don't get to see him at the Al Smith. He's out getting to go travel the world with Notre Dame football, which was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Well, travel the U.S., probably not the world. Maybe he got to go to Ireland one time with those guys too. I don't know, but probably not. I mean, Beeson's athletic enough to go with them for sure. He'll match him athletically. Coach Hidalgo had Beeson ready to go. It was a really good match with Tatum. He had a win over Tatum for sectional and then lost him in the regional, so that'll be a good match.
Yep. Okay, 175. We have Ethan Pop, 2-time state qualifier for Harrison. Keith Zagjov from Mishawaka.
Yep. Hey, go for it, man. Hey, you just gotta say it to a computer. I gotta say that on a mic in front of their home school.
Yes.
Like they assume that they're getting guys that can pronounce those names at the Al Smith.
Yeah, that's the bad thing about when you're in the region. I mean, you have a melting pot, and you got a lot of different names here.
Right? You got a lot of not a lot of vowels in those names.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. See, around here it's Bakers, Bolenbachers, Sprungers. They're all pretty similar here.
Yeah, we used to, Wheel of Fortune, we minimize the vowels, yes. Make it tough.
Yeah. These Eastern European names, yes. I am not Russian. I don't know if you know. Caprino is not a Russian name. We're Eastern European. We're on an island in the Mediterranean. Is where I come from. So Matthew Delgado from Lake Central. I know he's had some good wins. Mason Cobell from John.
I said calm psycho. I like that, dude. You know what? I'm changing my pick.
You just call him, jeez. So Mason Colba from John Glenn, I know he had a good win this year. So that should be a pretty good quarter bracket.
Yeah, I think Pop's been really good. And for as much, we give the business to the. Did I already tell Brandon Barton we ain't sleeping on Noma Coach? I told him that they're personally trained by you every day, and you're doing their weight training for Finney. You want to go get big? Go get with Brandon Barton.
Jeez, you can't give him enough props, can you?
I know. Sorry.
He's probably gonna send me a message that we are disrespecting him.
Pop's found his way through the semi-state 2 years in a row. He's had some really good matches. We're back on Joe's Facebook, so if you guys want to check, make sure you're voting. Then Matthew Delgado put a ton of work in this summer. I think he's down a weight. He just kind of LC's pretty tough, and Joker's pretty tough up there. So at 175, Mason Colbert had a really good win over Lavish Detweiler early on, which got him in the rankings. So, but I think Pop's probably the guy there, 32-0.
Yeah. Going down, you got Zamarian Holyfield from Penn. Senior, 13-1. I know he has had an injury. Was that an injury default loss that he had?
No, he got pinned by Costello pretty quick, and I think he got injured in that match.
Okay.
I'm happy to see him back because he's another guy I really like. He's probably on the all guys I like to see compete team. He's pretty athletic. He's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah. He has Paul Wagmuth. I just totally mispronounced that one. Lafayette
I think that's how you say Wagmuth.
Wagmuth.
Man, I have it written down somewhere because they told me how to say it. I said Wagamuth. I think it is.
Wagamuth. Okay, that's not too bad. Caden Paredes from New Prairie, and then Cameron Crisp from Maryville. So that's going to be a real good quarter bracket.
Yeah. Caden Paris had a really solid start to the year. I know he had some good wins. I know one of the New Prairie coaches gave me a hard time. His daughter actually plays for me. She was giving me a hard time, said he needed to be higher in the rankings. Probably not the first round match I was looking for. Crisp and Costello was a really good match at the regional. And then the winner of that match I'll have probably Hollyfield. So again, like that'll be two seniors going at it. A couple seniors, except for Walger Moose, a sophomore, but a couple seniors in that bracket, so that'll be a good one.
Yeah, and none of them have been to state. I know Hollyfield, was it last year or the year before? He had like 25 significant matches. He had like led the league in that, which is pretty impressive. And that's kind of one of those guys he's that pivot point of where guys go when you have that match.
Oh, yeah, and he did. He's I know he had some really good matches with Goodwin one year. They were just like physical matches, so he's not afraid to get physical out there.
Yeah. So going down, you got Aiden White from Crown Point. Won his regional, put himself in a pretty solid spot, pretty wide open quarter bracket with 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you're gonna get a semi-state guy there. Latrell Lancaster, Calumet, Jeremy Scales from South Bend Riley, and Orlando Castaneda, McCutcheon. So, man, those Barton trained guys in the upper weights are just hammers. Man. I mean, how many compliments do we have to give Barton before he stops complaining?
Dude, I'm telling him he needs to start a Logansport regional ranking system so I can get a little bit better at this. Castaneda is really solid. I know they were really good. They are really good there. They had a couple guys that they could move in and out of there, and I think they ended up settling in some good weights. Jeremy Scales real solid. South Bend Riley's under the radar. I think those guys were a little bit under the radar how good they were. Coach B Flat doing a good job with Riley. He's done a great job with Riley for probably 40 years. But I think that there was a lot of people that were writing those guys off, and they did really well. So that'd be a good first round match. Aiden White's wrestling really well. Regional champ. I think ever since Team State when he got the win to seal the duel for those guys, he's been wrestling at a higher level. He's a big 175. I think he's tall. He's like a bigger kid. I know my brother. My brother's a pretty big guy too, and he said my brother said White's a pretty big 75. He's just as tall as I am. He's pretty thick. Latrell Lancaster's a big kid for Calumet too. So I think White can find his way through. His brother had some pretty solid draws and kind of got tripped up. I know Pop was one year. I believe Maybe Donovan Blair was one. I think he had 2 matches where he was winning. He ended up getting taken down later, giving up back points late. So Aiden's going to go out there. And good for him, man, because I think it's really easy to be a backup and look at projections of the lineup and not know where you're going to fit, especially when you're big and you got 2 absolute monsters at 215 and heavyweight. And, you know, a lot of guys might give up. He stayed with it and found a role and had a huge win, helped his team win a state championship. And he ran into a buzzsaw at the Mount Carmel. Like, Colin Kelly's unbelievably good.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Bernadette Cope, hey, Fighting Warriors, man, let's go.
Yeah. Last quarter bracket, Aiden Costello, 37-0. Does he? I wonder if he wrestles Johansson. Wonder who wins there. See if we can get a report.
I heard it's all Johansson.
Yeah.
Don't say that because honestly, that's a guy that he's pretty good, man. He's pretty mean. He's corn rolled up Saturday.
Oh, jeez. So they got mullets and cornrows in Hobart.
Yeah, he's tough, man. I don't want to say anything and get him upset and say that Johansson told me he was beating him one day at practice and Johansson coming with a broken arm.
He has Ben Fedorchuk from Valpo, Griffin Prickle from Frontier, and Declan Guard, number 5 in the semi-state for Rochester.
I think probably not. I mean, there's not a lot of real easy spots if you're Declan Guard. That's pretty tough. I mean, coming in sophomore, 34-4, I think that he's pretty good. But, I mean, you're running the number 1 guy in the state. He's really good on top. He's just tough. Fedorchuk's a really good athlete, too, 30-7. I know Paradis, he had a win over Fedorchuk early, I think, at the Troikoff. But Aiden's wrestling really well. He's exciting to watch too. Number 1 ranked guy in the state. I would assume just based on rankings, which go out the window, like I said. I would think that he's probably the favorite to win the semi-state. But him and Crisp was really a really good match. It was a 1-point match for most of it. Those guys wrestled really well.
So we'll go down to 165. I'm not used to going backwards, so I'm like having to think these weights out. Emilio Tirado from Lake Central. Shout out to them. Their regional title there. Leonardo.
Yeah, first time in 22 years, I think they said.
Yeah. He has Leonardo.
Back when I had frosted tips and Doc Martens, bro.
Santiago from Penn. Kevin Martinez Morales from Tri-County, and Michael Mavros, number 13 in the state, from Lowell.
Yeah, I think Mavros fell in a pretty good spot there, being the runner-up. He's really tough. We talked about it in the earlier show. He had a good win over Smith at the Troikoff. I think he's had some tough losses where I thought matches didn't really go his way, but he's been really good. I think Lowell, in general, got some pretty good areas. Tirado, really tough. He had a really good Al Smith where he had some upset wins, 25-11. I'll tell you, like, I'm never surprised because Lake Central always finds a guy with about 10 losses to get to like a medal. Like Coach Trovine's done a great job. I think I could see maybe Emilio Tirado this year is going to be their Jake Sebahar, who had 11 losses one year and made a run to the state semifinals.
Yeah. Next quarter bracket, got 4 guys with rankings. Brant Beck, Rochester, returning state qualifier. You got Hunter Sapkowski from Highland, Lucas Anderson. I like names like that. That's
easy, right?
From Chesterton, and Eli Quasibarth from North White. Eli was a state qualifier a couple years ago, correct?
I think he got pulled back in, right? Like yes, he was. I think
so.
Something happened. He got pulled back into the state tournament.
Yeah.
Hunter Spakowski, I believe he was injured at the region. I know he defaulted that 3rd and 4th place match. I'm hoping that he's good to go. Really talented. Had a really tough semifinal. Kind of just landed weird. I think he was already injured, and they ended up just shutting it down. But that's a tough draw with Beck. I mean, Beck's really good. So Beck and Beck and maybe Quasibarth, 2 guys with state experience.
Yeah.
2 guys that have been there Friday night.
Yep, that should be a good one. So going down, you got Anthony Reinhardt, number 1 in the state and semi-state. Levi Sutton, Logansport. Tyler Knight, Maryville, and Will Kennedy from Mishawaka, number 11 in the state. Not the draw Mr. Kennedy wanted, but don't sleep on him.
No, Will Kennedy, he had a wild picture for the IndianaMat pictures. He had some wild hair.
He did not do his hair.
No, I think he was trying to not take this picture because his hair is pretty wild, but we got it taken care of. Tyler Knight looked pretty good at the regional. Hit a real nice inside trip in his first match to a kid's back, so he's pretty good. Will Kennedy is a guy that I know that's been in their program. I don't know last year if he was JV or I think he was maybe a transfer, but he's really solid. He had some really solid summer results. You're right. It's probably not the draw you want with Anthony Reinhardt. Reinhardt, number 1 in the state. Only losses are out of state in the finals of Carnahan 2 at the Ironman. Probably a better weight class for him than it was last year, saying that he lost in the regional due to missing the weight class. I think he's looking for a state title this year, and I think Crown Point's looking to bank on some big points for him.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to need those big points at the state. Going down, you got Isaac Sinks, Kansas State qualifier and placer. Having a real good year for Harrison. This Kansas guy is moving into Indiana, infiltrating.
Thank you, Josh. Can you transfer?
Yeah. So he has Israel Sinat from Hanover Central, Marquise Young from South Bend Raleigh having a real good year. He's really good. That's one you can't overlook. And then Elijah Carter from Hammond Central.
Yeah, Elijah Carter looked good in the regional final with Torado. Marquise Young, 6 losses. I know he wrestled Duke Myers really tough at the Al Smith. I believe he lost in rideouts, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wrestled him real tough at Goshen also. So he has some. I mean, he lost Mavros close, lost Duke Myers close. I thought he wrestled him twice, but yeah, he's had some good matches. So he's one you can't sleep on.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good match in the ticket round. I haven't got to see Sinks this year. But 40-0 returning medalist out of Kansas. But that'll be an interesting matchup.
Yeah. Going down, 157. Let me update my rankings. Looking at the wrong one. Griffin Van Tichel from Crown Point, having a good sophomore year after qualifying for state. Don't be alarmed by 9 losses there. He's wrestled who's who of wrestling. And Tino Garcia from Lake Central, Isaiah Rivas from South Bend Raleigh, and Lars Hughes from Rensselaer Central.
Yeah, Rivas, real solid wrestler from South Bend Raleigh. I don't know if they wrestled Rensselaer this year. Maybe they both had Twin Lakes. I'm not sure. But Lars, obviously we love the Hughes family, Kenny, Drew. We've known those guys for a long time, so, you're hoping Lars finds a way through just because, he's been in the mix. I think he's been the tick around a couple of times. I know he's a couple-time regional champ. Lost the regional this past time. I think he's a 2-time regional champ, 2-time regional runner-up. But Van Tichel's wrestling a lot better right now, too. Looks like he's in better shape. I mean, I think football, some of those football guys, they made that deep run to the state championship game. It was just hard to get back into that shape because they jumped right in the fire. I think they had a week of practice, and a lot of those guys had to go to Ironman. Yeah. Shout out to Tino Garcia, 17 and 13. I know when he was in the finals of the Harvest Classic, he put down that he was the JV demon last year. So wrestled a bunch of JV for those guys and found his way in the lineup. Junior, he'll be back. I think Van Tichel finds his way through that quarterfinal, but I wouldn't be shocked that the winner of Rivas and Hughes is in the mix right there too.
Yeah. Going down, you got Adrian Palat from Maryville, returning state placer. Caden Uran, Boone Grove. Zachary White Jr. from Faith Christian, and then Christopher Scott there. So Palat probably the class of that, but can't overlook Scott or White.
Yeah, I thought White had a good summer too. I know they wrestled a ton. Christopher Scott was in the finals of the Harvest Classic also. He was a Harvest Classic champ. And they said he waited his turn too to get in the lineup at Penn and just a deep squad. I remember he won, and they said something. I forgot who was coaching him. They're like, he just listens really well. That he listens really well, and I think that's a very underrated thing. And I know, obviously, you coached a lot of guys at State. Like, the kids that listen and like listen to what you're saying and try to do what you're telling them to do usually have a lot more success than the kids that don't. And I think that's very underrated. Palat's really good. I think he's really turned a corner. He had that huge win over Mitchell Betts at the Al Smith. He's one of those guys that just keeps getting better every time I see him.
Yeah. So bottom half of this bracket, pretty solid. I mean, this whole bracket kind of got separated about as good as you could get it. Javon Frost from Delphi, Aaron Ross from Warsaw. He's one that I always think that is always ranked, but he's been in the mix the whole time. Joseph,
I think Aaron will start off like 113 too.
Maybe that's why I don't even know if he has a profile, but he's one that
he's been in the semi-state rankings a little bit.
Yeah, okay, so Aaron Ross, Warsaw, Joseph Bartuzayak, and Noah Sessions from Kankakee Valley.
I think it's Bartusic. I don't know.
That sounds.
We got a bunch of. Now we're going to reverse order. Troy Allen. So we're at 57. We're about halfway there.
Yeah. Joe Clark said he's buying us dinner next week. So
let's go. Noah Sessions, Bartusic. Those guys are in the same conference. I'm sure they wrestled this year. I know Sessions was out for a little bit with injury. Pretty solid. Javon Frost is a guy. He had a really good North Montgomery. I think he beat Lars Hughes there also. I believe his only loss is to Michael Kane? No, it's to Fetting, right?
Fetting, yep, close.
Yeah, Fetting's his only loss on the year. For the fight, Michael Atwood's. Coach Atwood was there at Delphi for a long time. Delphi used to be really good. The Oracles, they had some really good hammers for a long time. So I'm sure. When's the last time they had a qualifier?
It's been a couple years. I think they've had one fairly recently. Let's see, their top wrestlers last year. 2 years ago. Cooper Kinsler.
Oh yeah, Cooper Kinsler. Yep, was a big kid.
Yeah, so they had Hunter Moat there for a couple years. He was runner up in 2016, so they haven't totally faded. But yeah, they for a while obviously had Lind, Atwood.
Yeah,
they had a good run for a while, and
they had some guys that were contending for state titles for a while. They were really good.
Yeah, Coach Atwood, great guy. Miss him.
Oh yeah.
So
anyway. So Frost is wrestling real well. Put himself in a really good position. I mean, winning the regional, I think you like your spot as a champ there, and if you were the runner up or the third placer, you probably wouldn't be as happy, or the fourth placer, you probably wouldn't be as happy with your draw. So. Yeah. Good, congratulations on the regional championship to Javon Frost, and show up Saturday and maybe punches themselves a ticket.
Yep. Going down, you got number one in the state and semi-state, Bill Brabender, having a really good senior year. Hayden Hood from Harrison. That's a kind of a tough draw. Hood's pretty solid. That's not going to be, be a good match, and Brabender's going to get pushed there. Andrew Schaefer from Chesterton and Jamie Serrano from Portage.
No way, man! I'm not making that bet. That's too much groceries. I don't gamble with $1 million.
I don't have that much money.
Jamie Serrano, I think, is a really good student. I drive past. I'm assuming it's him. One of the Portage schools. I think he's a pretty good student there. Unless there's more Jamie Serranos at Portage that I know. That'll be a good one. The DAC in the first round. Schaefer and Serrano. Bro Brabant, a really good article today in the South Bend. Was it Tribune? I seen that they shared it. Just kind of like the right mindset. Just talk about where he was at and like how he's going forward. And he's only wrestling one at a time, and he's not focused on the rematch with Pellet. He's only worried about Hayden Hood right now, so he gave Hayden Hood the shout out in the article too. So yeah, but he's really good. I know. Talking with Steve early in the year before the season even started, I was kind of asking where they thought their guys were going to be at. He said Bo's going to have a really good year. I could see him winning a state title. I was like, yeah. he said there's like a point where like it becomes very hard for him to score takedowns, or maybe not as hard, but maybe harder than it used to be, where he felt like Joe Walker got to. He said he thinks Bo's at that point right now. He said so.
That's
I think
getting
he's right there. I thought he wrestled really well to Al Smith. Obviously, he's 39-0. Mitchell Walker wrestles a really good schedule, and I think he's a super nice kid, which is even better.
Yeah, but usually that's kind of just called getting old when you hit that like 4-0 and high school kids stay the same age.
Nah, Steve. That's why Steve stays in that great shape, man.
He plays golf all summer. How's he stay in shape playing golf?
I don't know, man. I'm gonna start playing more golf.
So 150. Wesley Harper from Penn looking to get a state medal. Been pretty close the past 2 years, or actually, yeah. Caden Webb from Rensselaer Central. Angel Bustamante from Maryville, or is it Angel?
I think it's Angel. We just call it Angel, man.
Jaden Lewis.
We don't do that in the region. We don't. If you say our first names wrong, we're okay with it.
Yeah, okay. Jaden Lewis from New Prairie. So two guys with Lewis a two-timer. Yeah, Lewis is a two-timer. So two-time semi or state qualifiers battling it out, possibly in the ticket round.
Yeah, that's never a fun thing. Those guys didn't see each other at the NIC this year. I think Harper was out. That's a tough draw. I'm sure there's no love lost between New Prairie and Penn. I think those guys don't exchange Christmas cards. I mean, I'm not positive on that, but it just seems that way. Caden Webb, a real solid sophomore. So right off the bat for Harper, he'll have a good one at Rensselaer Central. And Bustamante had a really good win over Kasperzak in their duel. So that could be if you're looking past someone, and I'm sure those guys aren't, but are not. But I think if you're, don't sleep on that first round, because Angel Bustamante is pretty good. Like I said, like he got that win over Kasperzak. But that'll be a good ticket round match, possibly with two guys with some state experience. Harper will be looking to get a medal. So is Jaden Lewis looking to get a medal.
Got another good quarter bracket. All guys have some rankings. Borden Rice, undefeated from Attica. Number 9 in the semi-state. You got Danny Moon from Warsaw coming in with 7 losses. And then Carson Ulrich from Ileana Christian. And as you said, Chase Kasperzak from Lake Central. So that should be a real good quarter right there.
Yeah, I thought Danny Moon wrestled really well at the Al Smith. Bowden Rice, undefeated Bowden Rice, 30-0 for Attica. Attica's done a good job getting guys there and competing. I know they've had some real tough guys. That'll be a good first one. That's 9 and 8. Danny's ranked lower in the semi-state. He's ranked in the state. I thought that the Penn Regional at 150 was pretty solid. I thought that was a real tough weight class. Then so that'll be a tough one right off the bat. Carson Ulrich, I think he was a Maryville kid at some point. Bro, Firebender's watching now, man. You just missed it. We were just talking about how great you are, man, and how good of a kid you are. Like 30 seconds late, man. Ulrich, I think, was a Maryville kid. I know he's I believe he was a Lake County runner-up. So he might have lost to Kasperzak in the finals of the Lake County. Let's look. You got this little thing, track wrestling here. Harvest Classic. No, I don't have it on there. But that'll be a good first round match. But Kasperzak is wrestling really well. So I could see that. Let's see. Ulrich was a runner-up. He was the runner-up too. Christopher Bone. Christopher, bad to the bone. And the hot dog, dude, I was so gassed up to do this hot dog review. I ate 2 hot dogs at Hobart. Never seen Chris Sr.
Oh, jeez.
And if I did, I don't know. I was hanging out. But I think that'll be a good quarter. I think I could see Kasperzak coming through there.
Yeah. Next quarter is another good one. Some more state qualifiers potentially battling it out. Christopher Bone, Hot Dog Man, Munster coming in undefeated, having a real good senior year. He was a qualifier a couple years ago at 132 or 20? 120. 120.
120 was winning Friday night and got I think it was the COVID year, right?
Yeah.
And he got crippled up by Westfield kid. Senior. He wrestled on one of the teams.
Yes. It was Braxton Vest.
Yep.
Lost 5-4. He has Charlie Schaefer from Chesterton, freshman.
Is he a two-time qualifier?
What do you say?
Is he a two-time state qualifier?
No, he lost last year in the ticket round. If I'm not.
He's a senior, though. He didn't qualify as a freshman, right?
No.
Okay.
No, he lost, I'm guessing, to Wesley Harper. Then you got Wyatt Davis, who was a state qualifier 2 years ago, also. At 113 pounds, so he's made a little bit more of a jump.
Those guys like to eat, man.
Yeah. So this is a battle of former state qualifiers at 13 and 20 2 years ago. And Carter Hirigis from Harrison.
Ooh, Anthony Hawkins said you guys are about to go Evan Cruz, Joe Caprino 6 right after the Constellations.
Wow.
On Main Street. On Main Street at the State.
Man.
At the Fan Fest.
Evan's known better than to get the smoke, but I guess if he wants it, he'll get it.
Hopefully Evan's feeling better, man. I know he had a pretty nasty concussion that kind of took him out. Bone's wrestling really well. I saw him Saturday at the Hobart Regional. Dude, he's wrestled with a lot of confidence. I feel like he's kind of just really flowing well. His dad's out here giving hot dog reviews everywhere.
And he has a pretty nice IndianaMat shirt.
Huh?
And he has a new IndianaMat shirt.
Nice. I think I'm going to have to go and get a grill, maybe we have a hot dog taste test right outside. Martin says stop in Lafayette and McCutcheon on the way down and get you on the Finny Pan real quick so he can get you ready.
Nice. I mean, Barton's, training the best around, so, I mean, I got to go get a good training session in.
We could have, on the top part, we didn't go into the semis or anything. If it's Harper and Kasperzak, that was a real wild match in the semis at the Al Smith. Mm-hmm. That was like one of those matches. I think Kasperzak, with the rideouts, Harper went down. Kasperzak cut him for the 30 seconds, didn't get a takedown, and then chose top and cut him again.
Yeah.
It was just a kind of a weird sequence.
Yeah, because they thought they could go neutral in that other one, and they can't. You can do that in college. I don't know if you can do it in college anymore. You might not be able to, but they were trying to go neutral, and then it was a really weird match.
Eric Smith, the Newcastle preview. We already saved it. We did that 2 hours ago, man. We were on it. We gave you guys early bedtime tonight, man. We said we're not gonna keep you guys up too late.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So, what were we talking about? Bone and Davis.
Bone and Davis, two guys that were former state qualifiers.
Yeah. So, going down the last quarter bracket, Captor. How do you pronounce his name? Nowacek?
I think Nowacek. That sounds good.
Crown Point.
They just call him Cap.
Cap. Having a good senior year. Filled in, taking over the spot there and having a real good run. Taking that spot and, making the best of it. Amari Leak from East Chicago Central. Eli Blossom from Faith Christian and Caden Smith. So, 2 and 3 in the semi-state, 7 and 9 in the state. Possibly in the ticket round, that should be a good one.
Yeah, Crown Point had and obviously Crown Point's really good, and I'm sure we're gonna get a crown and a pointing finger in a second here, but they had a real log jam between 50 and 57 with Evan Cruz, Cap, at 44 Christian Washington, Oscar Baca, Jacob Jones, and Griffin Van Titchen. I know Cap was at 57, him and Van Titchen were wrestling off, and I think they traded losses, and I know Baca had beat a couple of those guys, and Cruz was at 150, and so there was a lot of maneuvering in that area, but Cap's coming, he's wrestled really well. I think he had a huge win over the number. There it is, crown of the pointing finger.
On cue.
But he came in, had a huge win at Mount Carmel over Liam Kelly, the smaller of the Kellys. which I think he's ranked pretty high in Illinois. He's wrestling really well. Shout out to Amari Leak of East Chicago Central qualifying. I mean, they're running the event. I think he's the only qualifier for the Cardinals, carrying the legacy of the Maldonado family. Hector Mendez. I seen a guy make a bet with this kid. So I'm pulling for Amari Leak, actually. They said if Amari Leak qualifies, this kid's dad's going to have to do 150 push-ups in a row. I don't know if he got it in him.
Oh, wow. That's quite a bet to make your kid.
But his kid was hyped for East Chicago. I think they're old East Chicago family. Eli Blossom, real tough. I know he's been in the semi-state rankings a bunch. Caden Smith, another guy I really like watching compete. Wrestles really hard. That'll be a good match. Captor and Caden Smith. Captor's had some tough luck in the tick around too. Crown Point's done a pretty good job getting guys through, but I think Captor and the White family have like Aiden White and Anthony White, not just white people in general, but have had kind of tough ticket rounds. I think he's going to try to punch his ticket there, but that'll be good. Yeah, Caden is a dog, man. Caden and the whole family, the Smith family, good dudes, wrestle hard, wrestle in aggressive style. I love it. The daughter got a medal this year at Girls State. I think it's pretty cool.
144. Let me change my semi-state rankings. You got Jeffrey Hyvert from New Prairie having a pretty good season. Broke the world takedown record or state.
What do the national takedown record is?
I wouldn't. That would be interesting. I would have no clue what it would be. I didn't even really know if there was an official Indiana state one. That's kind
I think that's the official state one. I don't know if it is either. Because, dude, like, I want to know how many Brayton had, right? Like, Brayton was taking a ton of people down.
Yeah.
But from now on, in my opinion, whatever Jeffrey ends with this year, I think is going to be the new takedown record.
Yes. Need to put that somewhere. Yeah. So he has Chris Williams from North White, Christopher Fireball of Plymouth, and Michael Ortega of Portage. Hyvert's the real deal. He's tough. And just manhandling people right now.
He's really good. Works really hard, a hardworking kid. Hold on, let me finish this text. I gotta tell dinner man for real.
Yeah, Jordan Humphrey. According to Coach Cook, before he beat Jordan Humphrey, Humphrey claimed the national takedown record in his intros. So I'm about to talk to him a little bit, see what his next.
I remember him saying that too. I think like 1 year, like, dude, I'm not gonna. I think they said it a couple times. I think, but that was 2002, and I think Milas was 2003, right?
Milas was like 3 or 4.
So I think that was 2003. I think Jordan Humphrey said it in 2002. Didn't stop Coach Cook from getting that title though. And then I think Bryce Hassman said it too in his intro to the state finals in like 2000. So. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's an unofficial one. But for me, going forward, I'm going to – whatever Jeffrey Hyvert ends up on this year, that's what I'm going with because I think that he's done a really good job. Christopher Fireball, Michael Ortega. Michael Ortega, a really tough match with Marlon Kirksey as a reversal of the Al Smith. I think that that's probably – the draw you don't want. I'd have to look. I mean, that's a pretty solid weight overall.
Yeah.
But Hyvert, one of the best guys in the state. Does he have 2 losses in his career right now?
Yeah.
And he's taking down people. And I think what gets lost in the takedown record for Jeffrey is that he's really good in the top position too. Mm-hmm. I think I was more impressed how good he was on top last year wrestling than I was with him on his feet, and now he's setting takedown records. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to watch him the next couple weeks, really, next 8 days. So
let's get him in Al Smith, man. I'm starting a petition for teams to get Al Smith, right? Oh, yeah, they say he had 3 losses in his career.
Yes.
Oh, was he 4th? He took 4th last year, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so he has lost to...
He lost to...
Salome,
and who was 3rd last year at
Chef.
130? Chef.
Yeah.
Pretty good 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
All D1 level wrestlers. I mean, Jeffrey would be a D1 wrestler too.
Yeah. So going down, you got Avery Stanley, Rensselaer, Connor Olson, Chesterton, C.J. Briner, Lake Central, and Aiden Witten from Penn. So Stanley in a really good spot. Briner was 9th in the semi-state.
Yeah, maybe I'm sleeping a little bit on Aiden Witten, freshman, 22 and 14. I don't remember him at the Harvest. Maybe he wasn't in the weight then. I'm not sure. But coming out as a runner-up to Czar Walker at a pretty tough Penn Regional. Avery Stanley, real good kid. I hear he's a good kid. We have a girl from Rensselaer on our team. She said he's a nice kid. I think she told her dad if he qualifies for state that she's going to try to go down there. So good luck getting a hotel room, bro. But I think Briner's solid. I think Briner's a pretty solid guy for LC. Stays in position well, kind of goes with some big moves. So that could be a good one right off the bat with Briner and Witten. But I would think Stanley's the favorite there. And I think he kind of missed some. You probably wouldn't want to get Ortega. Just maybe missed Ortega.
Yeah. Bottom half of the brown bracket. Can't speak. Marlon Kirksey from Maryville, Reese Green, Bremen, Tyler Tusberg from Kankakee Valley, and John Bush from Lafayette, Jeff.
Yeah, Marlon did he did himself a favor by winning the regional. We talk about bad draws, but winning the regional I think is the most important thing for you. He's a guy that Paul Maldonado told me, and I one of the people I trust the most in their evaluation of young wrestlers. Especially at the JV level, guys that he's going to be really good is Paul Maldonado. And he told me Marlon Kirksey was going to be good when he was a freshman. And then last year I seen him a little bit and I was like, he'll be all right. And this year he's really turned it on. 2 losses. I know one does Mikey Ortega at the Al Smith and the other one had to be at the Al Smith also.
Arbery.
Which
5-4.
Arbery. 5-4. So good eye for Paul and good ears for me by listening and put him in the rankings.
Yep. And then bottom quarter bracket, Czar Walker, Mishawaka, only 1 loss on the year. 2 state medals, Hunter Vanek from Highland, Nolan Richards from Harrison, and Oscar Baca from Crown Point.
Yeah, Nolan Richards and Baca be a good match first round. Baca, kind of the forgotten guy in that Crown Point lineup. I know he's young. I think he's looked pretty good when he's out there. I know he's got a couple tough losses. It's 10-6. Crown Point wrestles probably one of the tougher national schedules. So that'll be a good one. Czar's really good. He's only lost to Arbery in overtime at the Al Smith. He's going to be looking at wrestle possibly Hyvert in the finals of the semi-state, but that's a loaded weight. There's some really talented guys there.
Yeah.
Again, it'd be interesting if we did have a wrestle back to see if any of those guys that are losing in the ticket round were able to advance.
Yeah, I see this one's fairly well separated. About as well as you could get. Ortega's the only one that's kind of out of place.
That's a tough draw for Ortega, but I always thought if you're going to seed the semi-state, you only seed the champs. Separate the champs the best way you can, and then if you're a runner-up, you're going to fall into some of those guys. So do your best to be opposite.
The only question is, you could seed the champs, but then how do you do the 2-3s? How do you flip those guys? That's the interesting, because you can't, because I guess you'd have to do something with how that's seeded, because the 2-3s can be 2 different ways, no matter how you have the bracket. But
in this one, you'd go Hyvert is the highest placer. Walker has a medal, right?
Yeah. No, what I'm talking about is the second and third placers from the regionals. Yeah,
I think I would just probably flip. Other than that, I'd probably just flip Ortega and Aiden Witten.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting.
It still might work out the same. Avery Stanley might still win that match, but a couple of juniors. I think I say it every time. You want to go see some pretty impressive stuff. Mike Ortega Sr. That dude lifting weights is no joke. He might actually be the guy training guys that Brandon Barton's doing. That dude's pretty jacked.
Michael, the champions and force would be fine, but that second and third placers, you can flip those 2 different different ways. So I don't know how you'd have to put something in there to get
independent arbiter, man. We did a pretty good job with Al Smith, I think.
Yeah, we can do it. We can seed it. I'll talk to Robert this weekend.
Give him a couple Benjamins.
Yeah. Say, hey, before we release these brackets, let me see them real quick.
Yeah. Scratch this one, do this one, flip this guy. We want to put on the best show, man. We're trying to get ratings here, Robert.
Yeah, we gotta get more subs to the IHSA.TV. Let's go.
Yep.
So 138, nearing the end. Clint Shepard having a real good freshman year. Jonas Skiles LaVille, Tyrion Tuttle from Harrison, and Landon Westenfield from Griffith.
Another one of those kind of like, I mean, it doesn't change. Landon Westenfield had a really good win in the semifinals at the regional over Anthony Hinton of Hammond Central. Just a really good match. He's runner-up. He ends up drawing the number 1 ranked wrestler in the state, number 1 ranked wrestler in the semi-state. Probably the top freshman in the state, I would assume. Also, guy that should have been a Fargo champ except for a terrible, terrible call. Clinton's wrestling really well, which is awesome because he works really hard. I think that when you work really hard, I always want to see the payoff, and I know how hard he's been working. I think I know he's there with Morrison and Howe. My brother sees him up there all the time. So I think that's a testament to hard work. So it's just starting off, right? You're only getting the beginning. I think that he's going to have a really good career.
Yep. Going down, Wesley Smith, returning state placer, 43-1, and Connor Wintsack from Knox, Anthony Hinton, as you said, from Hammond Central. He didn't get much of a better draw either.
No, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
didn't really have.
Against Ethan Sebring from Faith Christian.
Anthony Hinton had a really good summer too. I know he had qualified for Team Indiana. He didn't go. Really good stuff. I think he carries like a 4.3 GPA. Really nice kid. 2-3. I mean, pick your poison. I think this is one of the brackets. I know I had someone ask me, do I feel like the finals were in the semis? And I think like 3 or 4, like clear, like, yeah, that's probably the finals. But this one is one of those clear ones. I think Clark and this one for sure were like 2 of those. I was like, that should have been the finals. Wesley Smith, one of my favorite guys to watch, just wrestles tough, wrestles a hard style. They wrestled at the Al Smith. I thought it would be closer. I think they trained together a little bit. But real good family, man. If you're someone, a 38, and you're a runner-up, you're going to draw one of those guys Friday night, you're not going to be super happy. And those are guys that, like, wrestle hard, and they set an incredible pace. So if your conditioning suspect and you draw one of those guys Friday night, you're really not going to be happy.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one there. That'll be a good hard match for sure, potentially in the semis. Going down, last half bracket, Robert Frazier, Calumet won a regional, and a solid, about as good a spot you can get here. Chase Peckney from Frontier, Willis Dennis from Winnemac, and Luke Reed from Valpo, number 10 in the state. Yeah,
Luke Reed, I'm happy to see him back. I know he was dealing with some injuries. I don't know where he's at health wise, but he's really good. He had some really good wins. His only loss is to Shepherd in the regional championship. I know he's like a big jiu-jitsu guy too, so I liked him last year. I know he had a real good win over Chris Bone. Robert Frazier had an awesome – that was probably like the most entertaining match of Pan Am champ Luke Reed. I like that. Yeah. The most entertaining match at the Hobart Regional, just back and forth, kind of throwing each other to their back, was Westerfeld and Frazier. Just an exciting match. Like, I didn't know how – at some point I thought Westenfeld was going to pin Frazier. At some point I thought Frazier was going to pin Westenfeld. I think they ended up putting a good amount of points on the board. Reed and Frazier could be a really good match. I think they both roll pretty well.
Yeah, should be a good one there. Drake going down. Drake Fritz from West Central. Qualifier 2 years ago at 113. Not quite the jump the others had. Aiden Gutierrez from Lake Central. Josh England from LaPorte. And Jake Petras from Penn. So 9 and 10 to start off there.
Yeah, really, Jake Petras, 24-15, he's pretty talented. I got to see him at the Harvest Classic too. I don't remember. I mean, if I'd seen him at the Al Smith, I don't really remember it. but I think he's pretty slick. Josh England, I think, was out for a little bit with injury, I heard, from Kevin English. I think he's an elite kid. I know he trained at elite. Some of they said. Had a huge win first round of regionals over ranked Quentin Buckmaster. So, I mean, that'll be a good one for them. Drake Fitz, undefeated, 39-0. It's pretty good, man. You find 39 people to beat. I know the Fritz family, I think both of them are seniors this year, right? It'd be sad because I know those guys the Fritz have been around for a while. West Central's done a good job, and those guys have kind of led the charge there.
Yeah. Going down, 132. 1, 2, 3, 5 weights to go.
5 ways to go.
Yep, this will be a fun one. Hayden DeMarco, 40-0.
Oh, yeah.
2-time state placer, missed out on state last year. Looking real good right now. He has Tavion Smith from Faith Christian, Colby Smith from Mishawaka versus Warren Brown, Maryville. That should DeMarco's in a good spot right there.
Yep. Warren Brown wrestled really well first round of regionals too. He beat a real tough Daniel McGill. It ended up being a little bit further than I thought. As another guy that Paul Maldonado said he thought going as the season went on that he'd get a lot better. Hayden DeMarco likes to bring the entertainment, right? We've seen at the Al Smith finals. It was a little chippy. I know last year he lost a real tough match in the ticket round to David Maldonado, who ran that to the state semifinals. But DeMarco's exciting. He's an exciting wrestler to watch. He's got an exciting personality. Sounded like it got a little chippy at the Crown Point Regional. I don't know if he was chippy or what was going on. I just heard it was a little bit chippy out there. Those guys were getting at it. He's not afraid to get physical. He's not afraid to talk a little trash. Like we've seen that him and Eddie Gasco nose to nose. So he makes it exciting.
Yes, definitely.
Ooh, Dave Jr., who has been in the corner the last couple of weeks. Maybe it'll be Dave Jr., DeMarco will be coaching against him.
Nice. Going down, you got Hayden Fritz from West Central, 38-2. Walter Drews from John Glenn. Cooper Wilkins, Portage, and Seth Wright from Plymouth. So pretty wide open quarter here.
Yeah, Hayden Fritz, pretty solid, 38-2. Like another one of the, I think they're cousins. I don't believe that they're brothers. I think Joey Shepard knows those guys. I think they're cousins.
Yeah.
So Walter Drew had a really good match with DeMarco 2 weeks ago at the sectional. I think he was like 6'5". He had a couple reversals.
Oh, they are brothers. Twins.
Our brothers. Wow, that's cool. Nice. Parker Fritz would know, man. They've been there for a while. So that'll be a good one right off the bat. Drew's wrestled. I haven't seen Drew's this year, but I know he wrestled DeMarco really good. A lot of West Central in the house, guys, man. Congrats. Wrestling well. Wilkins and Seth Wright. I know Seth Wright's another guy. He had a win over Warren Brown early in the season. So that'll be a good one. Cooper Wilkins coming on too. I think he's really starting to turn a corner. I don't know if this is the year for him to punch a ticket, but I think I could see him punching a ticket down the road.
Going down, last half bracket here. Devin Basham from Rochester. One regional there. I know he was wrestling Vargo. Vargo got hurt and ended up gonna have to pull out, unfortunately. Took that one and ran with it. I mean, that's,
yeah.
It sucks for Vargo, but someone has to win and put himself in a pretty solid spot. Michael Turner, River Forest, Dalton Robson from Lowell, and Dylan Fernandez from Harrison.
Yeah, congratulations, Devin Basham. I mean, that is unfortunate for Vargo. Being a freshman, it makes it a little bit easier. If he was a senior, I think that would be a lot more difficult. Hopefully he has a quick recovery. I think Michael Turner's no joke, though, from River Forest. I didn't know he was a sophomore. I thought he was a senior. He looked really good at the Harvest Classic. I think that's a real tough one right off the bat. Michael Turner's a goer. Dalton Robson had a really good match with Sonny Sessa 2 weeks ago at the sectional. I think it was a 5-4 match, real tight. He's really good. He's real solid. I know he trained a lot with Evan Stanley this past summer. Just, I get those training videos of those guys going hard. I know we talked about it with I can't think of the kid's name from New Haven right now, but Doster. Doster training over there. So that's a pretty good quarter bracket, pretty wide open. I could see any of those 4 guys punching a ticket there.
Yeah, the last quarter bracket. This is a really so this is a juicy one. Everything got pushed down to the bottom quarter. Guillermo Rivera, Lake Central. He is a two-time qualifier.
Is a two-time qualifier.
Preston Manzuk from Mishawaka Marion, Caleb Calise from Benton Central, and Sonny Sessa from Crown Point. Rivera's beaten Sessa twice this year?
Yeah, the first time I think it was like a 6-1 or 5-1. Pretty solid. About as far as 5-1 looks, Yeah. Guillermo's wrestling really well. I'm not as familiar with Preston Manick of Mishawaka Marion. I haven't seen Marion this year. Anything I say about Manick, I'm just going to be reading off statistics. I haven't seen Marion at all. Caleb Calise was a Lafayette kid that transferred over to Benton Central. I know he had some pretty good wins. Sonny Sessa is really solid, and I think that, like, you look at that, you see 18-11, and you feel like, oh man, like if that was a regular schedule, you'd be like, okay, but that's 11 really quality losses. 2 of those are to Rivera. He stays in position real well. I think 2 of those are DeMarco. They do Ironman. They do Carnahan. They were at Team State, probably pretty tough. I know we got Hockaday, but the first time they wrestled was 5-1. The last time at the Al Smith, I think it was 7-6, right? Mm-hmm. And Sonny was kind of pushing the pace at the end to get a takedown. There was something that one of the coaches told me, that when you get seen, when Crown Point sees you multiple times, like they make better adjustments than almost anyone in the state. And it'll be interesting to see who makes better adjustments in that match.
Yeah, and this is for all the marbles, and the other ones really don't count too much. And yes, well, tell them to fix that in track, because I keep pulling that in. Anyway.
What's that?
Guillermo is a senior. But
is he? I thought he was a junior.
No, he's a senior. He's okay. He has results for, well, at least 3 years.
Okay.
So I'll double. I mean, he has his record there for a freshman year, so we'll figure it out.
Either way, if we both of those guys, I think both of those guys really, really talented. It sucks that one of those guys are going to have to go home. We talk about wrestlebacks all the time. If Rivera goes on, we could possibly get that Rivera and DeMarco match. We haven't had that yet. Guillermo has 2 losses, 1 to Luke Reed and 1 to Eddie Goss. And if Sessa moves on and he gets to the finals, we get that DeMarco, Sessa 3, and DeMarco was throwing some daggers in the paper, right?
Yes.
You don't really get to see a lot of bulletin board material. People are usually pretty reserved when they're talking about who they might wrestle down the road. And he was definitely going in saying that, about some stalling and his wrestling style, and he's there to score points and calling him by his name. And I was like, man, I can't believe that 1, Andy was letting him do that, and 2, that the Times ran with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, Guillermo's a senior this year. Confirmed.
All right.
Okay, so 126. Let me go down there. You got Wyatt Strickler from McCutcheon, Alex Vega from Lake Station. Is he related to Leroy?
No, I think he's related to Alex, though. I've seen Alex Vega there. He was a state qualifier probably back in like 05.
Oh, probably his son, since he has the same name.
Could be.
Brogan.
William Vega, not Alex Vega. William
okay.
Vega, state qualifier, sorry.
Brogan Sherpko from Valpo, and Dylan Bennett, a couple-time state qualifier, 2-time state qualifier. Didn't qualify last year from Penn, so he got put in a really good spot.
Yeah, Wyatt Strickler, real tough senior, 19-1. I know he wasn't at the Harvest Classic. I was wondering if he was in and out of the lineup. They had a couple guys that I had on the watch list. I didn't know where they're at. Vega was one of the 2 guys that I picked at the Calumet Regional that I picked against. So shout out to him. I didn't know what I was doing there. He got a dub. So that'll be a good first round match. I know he spent a lot of time at Elite this summer too. Wrestled a ton. Dylan Bennett lost last year, I think, first round to Sessa, or maybe ticket round to Sessa. I know he had pinned Sessa at Team State. He splatted them and then come back, and Sonny got the win last year at semi-state against them. So I'm sure he'll be looking to go back to the state finals. But that'll be a tough one of the winner of Vega and Strickler.
Yeah. Another pretty solid quarter. Matthew Maldonado from Maryville. Seth Duell from Harrison. Cohen Kramer from Plymouth. And Evan Kreiderman from Hanover Central. 3 great guys there.
I think a lot of those guys have wrestled each other. I think Matt, I don't know if he saw Seth Duell. I don't know if Harrison's still at I think they still are at Carnahan or at Tom Cameron. I don't know if you saw him there. I know he's beat Colin Kramer of Plymouth, and then he beat Ethan Kreiderman in the finals of the Lake County. Matthew Maldonado sets an incredible pace. Like, watching him makes me tired. Like, and he's sprinting back to the middle, getting down the line, standing in your face. If there's any kind of chinks, again, like if you have any kind of question in your gas tank, he's going to find it. There was something I was telling my brother on Saturday when we were watching it at Hobart. Those guys that grind you out on top, like they're not legging you, they're not like, doing anything crazy. They're just on top, like, hard breakdowns, hard mat returns, like working wrists, like constantly moving. It looks exhausting. Like, I was tired watching it, and those guys are like, cool, let's just keep wrestling. So Russell's similar to his brother. I think he's having a really good year. That Colin Kramer-Kreiderman match will be pretty good. A couple of really young guys there.
Yeah, should be a good one there. The meat here is at the bottom. Lane Horn undefeated for Rochester. Josh Chapman from Glen. Kristen Tapia. Man, I can't pronounce names right now. Will Roberts from Faith Christian.
That's true. That's why I try to sit on that's why everyone's closing out the lower levels. They don't let me sit on the upper level, make me go upstairs. Need an elevator. Let's start at the bottom part of this. Christian Tapia, pretty slick wrestler. I think that he's gonna have a good career going forward. I think Portage has some really good young guys that I think, like I said, maybe not this year, but down the road they're gonna be really good. And I think he's in the mix too. Will Roberts, shout out to Will Roberts, got pulled back in the bracket, right?
Oh yes.
Pulled back into the bracket, into the regional, upsets a 1 seed, and then makes a run to the semi-state.
Finished higher at regional than he did at sectional.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. Not awesome that if you're the guy that he beat and you're upset, like, that's not what we're saying, because we got one of those messages earlier, and that's not what we're saying. Yes. We're not being disrespectful to the people that he's competing against, just that he was pulled back in and that he made a run to the regional finals is pretty cool. That'll be a good first-round match, 9-12. Lane's pretty good. He's got 2 losses in his career, one to Aiden Bollinger last year in the semi-state, and then Friday night against Nate Rio. I think 41-0, I'd be willing to bet the majority of those are bonus points or falls. I think it'll be interesting. Yeah. Especially if you run into a Portage guy and they kind of the definition of push the pace, physical style, but Lane's really good. Lane was ranked number 1 all year last year at 106. Just had an unfortunate draw. We talked about this off air, so this is a little off air. I think people look at Lane's freshman year as a failure because he only qualified as number 1 ranked wrestler. He ran into Nate Rio. If you take Evansville and Fort Wayne and you split them and put them on the other regional or semi-states, I think that those 8 or maybe 7 of the 8 of those could win.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would they would be the favorite in 7, against the other regionals. It's just a blind draw. He drew probably the second ranked guy in the state, a guy that's had national success Friday night. And Bollinger's good too. No disrespect to Bollinger. He beat him at the regional. I think he beat him pretty solid. Rex is on here. He gave me trash about it for 2 years.
You'll never live that down,
I'll never live it down. But Lane put in the work. He was a high placer at IPO. He beat Revan Dickman last year at IPO. He's really good. So this is one I would say probably if I was seeding it, I would have seeded it differently.
Yes.
If I was seeding champions, I probably wouldn't have these two guys on the same side.
Yeah, second year in a
But
row.
I'm excited. That was when I found out Rochester was coming to East Chicago. I was excited that Lane Horn's going to be in the bracket somewhere.
Yeah, this is the second year in a row where Horn's getting a semifinal with, the two best guys are on the same side. So, Lane and Hawkins, 23-4, Crown Point, Caden Garza from Mishawaka Marion, Israel Williams, and then Daniel Mata from Hobart.
Eric said his wife's upset. She's been listening to me they've been listening to us for 3 hours. The voice of angels.
Yes.
The voice of angels.
Yes.
Man, but she has to be able to put up a lot if she's putting up with Eric, right?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
She has a high threshold. She's putting up with Eric.
Probably better listening to us than her or him.
Yeah.
She disagrees. You only got a couple more weights.
So Mata, Mata's probably one of my favorite guys too. I think he's a real nice kid. I always smile every time we talk to him. Pretty solid. Him and Maldonado was a good match. Again, probably not the draw he's looking to get there. Him and Hawkins, I'm sure they've wrestled. Hawkins wrestles a style, I would say, that probably turns his dad's hair gray.
It does, because I've noticed a lot more gray the past 2 years in Bill. So I think he's going to be full gray in 2 years.
He's definitely not afraid to win a tight match.
No,
but like everyone that watches him wrestle says, like he has something you cannot teach though. There's something inside of him that like he's able to float through some of those situations. He doesn't panic. Like go back and watch the Braylon Reynolds match. Like I would say 99.9% of high schoolers in the state of Indiana probably bail there. And he's like, cool, this is where I wrestle at.
Yeah.
Got him right where I want him, right?
Yes.
Oh, you have two legs hooked and I have my hand locked around your ankle. This is exactly where I want to take you down and put you to your back.
Yeah.
And dude, you can't teach that. I don't think that's a teachable thing. I'm sure it's not good for his dad's heart. It's my guy, I wish he'd kind of separate a little bit more, maybe win by 4 or 5. I think my guy's going to have an ulcer by the end of the high school season.
He's going to have a lot of medical problems and gray hair.
But I'm happy to see I think this is what I thought Landon could be doing last year. I'm happy to see him back on the mat, honestly.
Yeah.
I think, whatever reasons, and I have a pretty good insight of what happened. I'm happy that he's been there the entire year, and it seems like he's doing really well.
Yep, that's the most important thing. Win or lose on the mat, you're able to compete. So, 3 weights to go. 120.
Even though he's a trash talker. He's about one of the most trash talking kids, right? He'll definitely tell you his opinion. Some kids are like, oh, man, that's cool. And he's definitely going to tell you where you're wrong at or where he thinks you're wrong at.
120. Seth Aubin Hobart took his first or second loss at sectional. Avenge that. He has Brody King from John Glenn, Alex LaCavia from Mishawaka Marion against Caden Stonebreaker from Seaton.
That's a cool man.
Yes.
Brody King has had some really good matches this year too. I think that Crown Point Regional was really tough at 120. I think there's probably about 5 kids that were pretty good. I know that Kiros and Hanover Central match right off the bat was really good. Aubin took that loss to Cameron Woods at the sectional. Joe Hansen did tell me that Seth Aubin's never won a sectional. So it's just kind of his thing. He doesn't win sectionals, he wins regionals.
That's an interesting stat.
Yeah, for a guy that's got a medal and has been at state, 2 times, to never win a sectional is pretty interesting. He's pretty good. Number 2 in the state. His other loss is to Gendris. They're on the same side. Probably not how I would have drawn it up, but I don't think it's as far off as everyone. Everyone was up in arms about it, but Seth Aubin and Aiden Dallinger have had some battles. Those guys have had some straight wars over the past 2 years. So
I'd blame the coaching on why he hasn't won a sectional, personally, but
I think they definitely made some adjustments in their game. I think Cameron Woods. a little bit underrated. He's not in the state ranking, semi-state ranked. I know he had some losses in there, but I think that he's a guy that, and we'll talk about him in 3 brackets, it sounds like, in 3 quarters.
Yeah. Going down, you got Gavin Gendris, Crown Point, Ryan Boz from Lake Central, Aaron Duell from Harrison, and Elias Garza. Gendris, he's wrestling really well.
Yeah, I would say he's probably wrestling the best in the, like, not overall, but like right now it just looks like everything he's doing is working. And I mean, they could change work, week to week, but like he looks like we kind of talked about it. I talked about it with Bill and those guys last year. I think when he's letting his offense go, I don't think there's anyone that can wrestle with him at 120 pounds. And I know you said it after you see him at Ironman that he needs to just be a little bit meaner, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a shot for the Genius rankings, not me, man. Hey, I was at Hobart. I was loving it. I felt like I was at home, Paul. Yeah, Gendris wrestling really well. I think as good as anybody in the state right now.
Yeah.
Like, his confidence looks good. I know you said after Ironman, like, he needs to be a little bit meaner. I don't know if he's not, like, a mean kid. I don't see him being a mean kid. If someone told me that he's a mean kid, I would probably be like, I don't believe you. I think that's a lie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think Gavin Boss and those guys have trained together for a long time. That's probably not the draw he wants as a four coming out of the Hobart Regional, but I think he's an RWA kid. I know him and Hawk are pretty close, so I'm sure that won't be a good feeling unless he wins, and then it still won't be a good feeling.
Yeah. Going down, you got that last half bracket. Ryan Schmittendorf from Penn, Nathan Peter from West Central, Jason Dillon from Griffith, and Adrian Origal from North Newton. North Newton Origal's in a good spot there to potentially qualify there.
Yeah, I think and he took 2 losses to Gendris in the sectional regional championships. Welcome to the Crown Point Regional, North Newton.
Yeah.
They what's crazy is he has a brother that transferred to Rensselaer, and North Newton held his eligibility. I don't know how I'd feel about that.
That's
I don't know if I could wrestle for a school that like held my brother's eligibility, but he's a senior too, so I don't know anything behind any of that situation. I don't know any kind of IHSA bylaws that were broken. I just know that his brother's pretty good also, and he had to sit out this year.
Did they have a loser leave? Did they have a wrestling match where the loser leaves town or something?
I don't know, man. I didn't really get into it. I don't know why he left, but I did feel bad because I think the other brother's pretty good too, and he's just on the watch list waiting.
Yeah.
Ryan Schmittendorf is wrestling really well right now. Avenged some losses along the way this season. Took some losses early on in a really tough pen room, man. Just, you're wrestling Harper, you're wrestling Vargo, you're wrestling Bennett. Those guys are really good, and I think you can only get better or, it's going to be a really hard day for you. But, I think Argajal is in a good spot there. As good a spot as you probably could have got with guys with 3 medals. You got the only guy that doesn't have a medal.
Yeah.
I believe he might have been the 1A, 2A state champ also.
Nice. Aiden Dallinger, returning state medalist, was 6th last year at 113. McCutcheon, he has Josh Kite from Mishawaka, number 7 in the semi-state. Get Maximus Kiros from Chesterton, having a real good freshman year. He's ranked pretty high even with 8 losses. That tells you what kind of schedule he's wrestling. And then Cameron Woods from Portage. That's a heck of a quarter bracket.
That's a heck of a quarter bracket. At 1A, 2A state, Orga was first. He was the state champ.
Nice.
1A, 2A state champ. Beat Braylon McIntyre 10-0.
That's not a bad win there.
Beat Brody King 5-2. Jordan Korick 14-3. Eli Collier 9-6. A lot of guys there at the semi-state level. That's
a good that's a good hit list.
Yeah. So this quarter bracket here, let's start at the bottom here. Max Karros and Cameron Woods.
It's Oragel. Okay, thank you, Tony.
Thank you. Max Quiros and Cameron Woods. Cameron Woods is wrestling really well. Just had that win over Auburn. Jimmy Carroll's wild boy, right? He had a son that's already grown, probably got kids of his own. He got another kid in high school. He's really good. He works hard, man. He's a really hard-working kid. I know talking with Coach Trevino, he really likes him. Everything he tells him to do, he's going to do. He had to win a battle at the first round of the regional. He's going to be good for those guys. That'll be a tough one. Cam Woods is really good in the neutral position. That'll be a good match. I'm sure those guys have wrestled.
Yep.
I think they probably wrestled in the duel, right?
Yeah, Kiros won 7-5 early in the year, so.
Yeah, so that'll be a good match for those guys. I know Kiros has got better as the season's gone on. Josh Kite, another guy, last year, really impressed with them from Mishawaka. That's a tough draw, man. Aiden Dallinger's a guy that I really like. I thought he kind of burst on the scene last year at the Harvest Classic, winning over Ishan Tolbert and Seth Aubin, and ran into a state medal. Any of those four, I think, whoever shows up can punch their ticket out of there. I'll probably lean Dallinger just because I know he's got the state medal. He has 2 losses. One's to Aubin at the Harvest. Who's the other one to?
The other one is to Isaac Ash at Team State.
Isaac Ash.
I assume Team State? No.
Maybe at, yeah, probably. No, at Mooresville, right?
Yes, that would be right.
Kutching wasn't at Team State.
Yeah.
I'd probably lean Dallinger just because I think of his style. He can win those tight matches. He's pretty good on top. He's pretty good.
Okay. 2 more weights. Eric's waiting patiently. Got Gavin Lewis.
I felt bad for his wife because I go back and listen to these and listen to me talk the whole time. I don't like to hear it either. I feel it, bro.
You got Gavin Lewis, Crown Point, having a great freshman year. Bryce Emery from Harrison. Chance Smith from Mishawaka, and Owen Button from Portage. So a 5-17, 1-3 in the semi-state. So that should be a good one right there.
Yeah, man, I think that one's really, really hard. He's wrestling. I think Lewis is wrestling really well. He's had a really good year. Only having 5 losses in that schedule. I know he split with Williamson. I thought that was a pretty heated rivalry. He's in a good spot, man.
Yeah.
Chance Smith, 15-18. That's pretty impressive to make semi-state with that. And I know they come out of a tough regional. Owen Button Sr., he's a pretty big 13. He took Mario Oweta down and then hit him like a real hard crossface. I don't know if he went to go do it again. Just kind of went over the top and kind of rushed a pinning combination and ended up getting pinned in the first period. But I think he beat Mario the first 2 times, and then I think Mario's beat him the last 2 times. So winning regionals put Mario in a better spot. That's going to be a tough one, a senior and a freshman possibly in the ticket round there. And I know Lewis has beat him twice. I know once for sure.
Yeah, twice. It looks like. Going down, you got Beck Doherty, from Rensselaer Central, John Carter, Hanover Central, Jeffrey Fleming from Griffith, and Bryce McNeese from Warsaw, the only one ranked. But you got 6, 7, and 9.
Yeah, again, a pretty solid weight class. Shout out to the Bombers, man. Rensselaer Bombers I think they won regionals at 6 and 13 and 44. So he'll have a pretty good one off the bat with Hanover Central Senior at 113. Told you that Hanover has 2 really good small guy coaches. I'm sure he'll be prepared. And then Bryce McNeese from Warsaw, I was really impressed. I thought the Warsaw guys wrestled really well at the Al Smith. The guys that I saw, I thought they did a good job.
Yeah. Last half bracket here, you got Brady Harper, Penn, freshman, having a real good year. Angel Ramirez from Highland, Merrick Raphael from Valpo, and Josh Marlin from McCutcheon. So 3 semi-state ranked guys there in that quarter bracket. Man, you did a good job with this one. You almost seeded this.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, I do this for praise, guys.
All 12 guys made it, and it was evenly split. That's pretty impressive with semi-state ranked guys. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah, Harper, a really talented freshman. 3 losses on the year. I know he lost to Bunton once. He lost to Lewis once, and he lost to Caleb Halfacre, who's on the bottom part of this quarter. Josh Marlin was a surprise for me. He wrestled 6 a bunch of the year. I thought he was going to be at 6. So when I seen him at 13, I was a little bit. I thought that was a little bit of a shakeup. Usually it goes the other way. Guys cut down a weight, not go up. But tough spot there with the freshman. But I mean, it's not an impossible match. But Brady Harper's really good. Middle school state champ. I know he was a national champ in one of the nationals. He's in a good spot. Opposite, we could possibly get a rematch of Al Smith in the finals.
Yeah. Last quarter bracket, Mario Arruda from Areta from Lake Central, Colin Moats, Bremen, Isabel Kaplan, West Lafayette, and Caleb Halfacre from New Prairie.
Jason Gaines says you need to fix the 113 bracket. Oh, who got pulled out of there?
Did someone get pulled out? I did not. Hold on. Let me see who. I don't know who got pulled out. If someone pulled out, or what is wrong with the. You need to be more accurate, more detailed with what's the changing. Owen. Well, Button not wrestling. It sounds like.
Oh, Owen's out. We got some Portage people in here. I'm sure they'll let us know.
Yeah. He's still in the bracket on track, so yeah.
That'd be unfortunate.
Yeah. So but
okay. So who would that change it for? Angel Ramirez would go to 3. He would Fleming would go to 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Fleming would love that. Let me get the number one.
Owen, you are wrestling.
Yeah. I feel like they should give the guys the option, right? Like, hey, do you want to go there or no?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Jaden Gaines and Calumet getting pulled back in. Let's go.
Yeah, that's
show stopping, man. Where we get, he's coming in. Gonna have Brady Harper. Mark it down. Upset City. Calumet Warriors.
Man, you're pulling a Dane there, going right out there, making those statements.
Fedorczyk might be out too.
Oh.
I go back to what I was saying. I think that if you know you're gonna get pulled out by a Wednesday, you should have the 4 guys that lost in the first round of regionals meet up on a Wednesday at a high school and wrestle.
Yeah,
I feel like that's how you get the true. If you know someone was injured, I don't know if someone's knee was busted up, if we knew Vargo was out, he broke his elbow, have the other 4 guys that lost first round go wrestle and find out who should be the alternate, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that's the way it's going to be right now, but I think that's the most fair way. Yeah. All right, back to the brackets, guys.
So, Arruda, Moats, Kaplan, and Halfacre possibly could have a little bit of a shakeup, but
Cook said the injured guy refs it. I don't know if I agree with that, Jason. Aweta, Moats first round. Mario's wrestling really well. We got to get his dad's name right. He's a big police officer for Lake County.
Yep. I will not speed there.
He's a good dude, man. I really like Mario. Mario Senior, Isabel Kaplan, and Caleb Halfacre. Caleb Halfacre's wrestling well too. I know that was a guy that said put a ton of work in at Midwest this summer. I think early on he was wrestling a lot of tough guys and just wasn't getting the results that he was hoping for. And then he's really turned the corner. I know that Harper match was close. It ended up being an injury default, but I think that he had just taken the lead or a reversal or something to put him to his back. I've heard it that way. I know someone came out and was like, it was an injury default, and I think it was a pretty tight match before that. Halfacre and Aweta would be a good match there. That's 18 in the state, 14 in the state, 2 and 4. Mario's wrestled with a lot of confidence, and I think that's a guy that I don't know if I would have said 3 years ago that he'd be where he's at right now, because he's wrestling really well. I'm really impressed how far he's come and how much confidence he's wrestling with. Yeah. Because I think 3 years ago he was kind of trying to get in the lineup. He might have been in the lineup last year. He's a little undersized. You got guys like Mason Jones ahead of you. It's tough. His brother's really good too. They're gonna. I don't know. I think he'll be at Lake Central too. His name's Cruz. He just had a really good middle school state.
Yep. So should be a good bracket there.
Yep.
So last bracket, 106 pounds. Our guy Mason Jones, turning 5th place finisher. He has Dwayne Putt, Riley Griffin versus Brody Blevins from Mishawaka.
Really good article about Mason today.
Yep.
Super nice kid, man. Someone told me on Saturday they didn't think he was a nice kid. I said every time I've ever talked to him, he's been like the nicest kid I've ever talked to.
Yeah.
But Riley Griffin and Brody Blevins. Brody Blevins wrestling really well the last couple of weeks. Also had a nice win over Aiden Diaz a couple of weeks ago. I think Riley Griffin had he had a really weird match at Al Smith. I know he was out for a little bit. He's pretty tough. I think that'll be a good first round match, Blevins and Griffin. Mason's wrestling really well, and I think anytime Mason gets going, and I think he's hard to roll with.
Yeah. So next quarter bracket: Colby Robinson, Rensselaer, Joy Cantu from Maryville. That should be an interesting match. Number 9 and 10, Grant Holloway from Rochester, and Julian DeLuna from Hanover Central. So 7, 9, and 10 in the semi-state.
Yeah, DeLuna and Holloway will be a solid match. DeLuna runner-up to Tegan Newell the last 2 weeks. Holloway getting back also. He was injured. They pulled him out of the lineup a little bit. And I was happy to see him get back because I thought he was out. Joy Cantu and Kobe Robinson wrestled early on in the year. I think Joy majored him for one of his 2 losses. Joy had a match with Lucas Manning at the Hobart Regional. They stopped it for concussion. I'm hoping that she can get cleared. I think as the day went on, she looked like she was better. I mean, but that's such a weird thing. You never know.
Yeah.
But as a 4, I'm sure that's about as clear a spot as you want to get. You want the guy that you wrestled before, that you beat before, and there's one ranked wrestler in there, Holloway, who's, just coming back off an injury.
Yep. And last half bracket, we got a little spice here at the top bracket. Tegan Newell, Crown Point versus Aiden Diaz, 3 and 4 in the semi-state. Number 5, Nash Burke in the semi-state from Munster, and then Cameron Noost from West Central. So 4 guys semi-state ranked at least 3 in this state.
Yeah. So let's start at the bottom part. Cameron Noost, West Central. Congratulations to him. I know he's pretty tough. I was trying to find his losses. I thought he could kind of make a push to the state rankings, being that bottom part. Nash Burke, a real tough kid from Munster, took a loss to Joy Cantu at the sectional, and then lost to Mason in the semifinals of the regional. I know I think he was undefeated going into Mooresville. I think he took 2 losses at Mooresville too. And then wild. Aiden Diaz was a ticket rounder last year at 106. Was at Crown Point at some point this year. Was, I think, practicing in their room. Was at Wheeler when he was in the ticket round. Was at Crown Point for a little bit, and now he's at Penn, and he got the go ahead right before the sectional. I think probably the Wednesday before sectional, he got the green light, which is pretty crazy. So he only has 6 matches, 3 losses. I know he lost to Brody Blevins at the sectional finals. Then he lost to Alonzo Chanty, who's really good. I think he's a really good wrestler. And then he lost in the 3rd and 4th place match to Holloway. And now you have a guy that were probably practicing together for a month or 2, wrestling first round of semi-state, which is pretty interesting. Newell, I think, is finally kind of getting the grasp on that. He had a pretty significant cut. I think when he's starting to look closer to what he looked like at the end of last year when he was doing the ISWA stuff. If you go back and look at his results from folk style state, I think he was at 13 then. You can see he wrestled a bunch of dudes that we've talked about the last couple of shows, and he was beating those guys. He had a really good IPO where he won a bunch of good matches. He beat Matthew Baylor there, who's got a medal. So I think he's starting to look more like the Tegan Newell I thought he'd be coming into high school than he's looked this year. And I think part of that's, the weight cut's incredibly hard. I don't know his experience with cutting weight like that, but he's wrestling a lot better. So that's an interesting storyline in the first part of that quarter bracket. 2 guys that were practicing together. I'm sure Chantia, thank you. But I think That'd be an interesting bracket overall. That quarter right there would be good.
Yeah.
And who knows how those in the room? Who knows how they're going? I'm sure like one camp's telling me they want one way, and another camp's telling me they want another way.
Of course, no one's, yeah. and the truth's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure like there's it's a little bit both ways.
Yeah. So last quarter bracket of the evening, and Alonzo Chantilla, Plymouth, Devin Huff, Kinky Valley, Parker Barnard, Lafayette Jeff.
Kevin Whitehead watching, the legend. We're trying to talk you out of retirement right now in the hometown.
And Lucas Manning from Portage.
Let's start on the bottom part. Parker Barnard, Lafayette Jeff, 21-5, freshman. Pretty solid. Lucas Manning, a really good freshman year. Taking a couple losses to Mason Jones. Wrestled pretty well at the Al Smith. But and Chantilla has been phenomenal. He has 2 losses. I believe they're both at Al Smith, correct? Like Bismeyer
and Thrasher.
And Thrasher. He's really good. I think he was at 13 last year. Now he's down at 6. I know he has a good win over Newell this year. He's wrestling really well. So anytime you have a couple seniors at 106, those guys have been doing really well.
Yeah. Should be a good one. Whew, we made it.
Michael Manning said that Manning is no one to sleep on. No, he's really good. That's a tough weight, but again, you don't want to go against Portage. But Chantilla has been wrestling really well. I don't know if they wrestled each other this year, but again, I think Portage is going to be pretty good in the next couple of years, and I think they have some really good young guys. Coach, my boy, Coach Acuna over there, doing some big things.
Yep. Whew, we made it.
We made it. And 2 shows one night. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Pick 'em. Make sure you get your pick 'ems in so they can be in 2nd and 3rd place.
Yep. No, 3rd and 4th. I'm getting 1st. You'll get
probably more like 80th and 81st, man.
Yeah.
You guys pick apart too much.
Yeah. Yeah. So thanks for joining us. We'll be back Monday next week. I don't know what our we're gonna hopefully maybe try to get everything done on Monday, but if not, we'll go back Tuesday. We're gonna be around.
Yeah.
We're gonna do like 3 or 4 shows anyway next week, so be ready.
Yeah, a couple shows will probably get some people on. But yeah, man, really good semi-states, man. I'm really excited. East Chicago, get to go hang out with a bunch of people I don't get to see all the time and eat some good food, man. So enjoy whatever mush you guys read out in Fort Wayne.
I'll be in the nice, luxurious suite hanging out. And
man, they're gonna be a suite at East Chicago High School.
Where's that at?
Oh man, I don't know.
Do I get
I don't know, man. It'll be good. Those guys do a great job. They don't have suites. I was just joking. They barely got a speaker system, bro.
They barely have a speaker system.
Shouting. After doing 4 shows, maybe I won't be as good on the mic as I thought I was going to.
Yeah. You got a day to recover. Gurgles.
Yeah. Now they brought in Robert Flores last year, the dude that does some of the boxing. It's pretty good.
Nice. So
it'll be good. I think it's gonna be a good semi-state. Looking at the brackets, there's gonna be some surprises. I'm sure, if you're someone that felt like we didn't give you guys the right amount of love, that's cool because you get to wrestle it on Saturday and you can prove us wrong.
Yep.
The over and under for champs like Newcastle at the East Chicago semi-state.
Ooh, East Chicago. Let's see. And then let's see the number ones. You got Jones right there. Lewis, I would probably say he's
3,
1, 2, 3,
4,
4,
maybe 5,
6, 7, 8,
6, 7,
9, 10. Man.
10.
I mean, I got
the over under 9.5. I thought yesterday when we did the show with Dustin, he told us that was the best semi-state.
I know. I don't know. We didn't do it on there. for East Chicago
If
Evansville.
we did 8.5, if we did 8.5 champs coming out of East Chicago semi-state, what do you think? Is it the over?
Man, that's a lot. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Where is I gotta find? Shoot. Let me see. What do we have for? Let's see what we have for. So for Evansville, you got Dickman.
Yeah.
Anderson's undefeated. He's not totally favored there. You got Schaefer's number one.
You got Rock in that weight too. You got returning state champ in that weight.
Yeah. So you got Hockaday, Kreisha. Yeah, Gunnar Henry.
I think you put Iceland there too. Like he's a returning finalist.
Yeah. So you got Ison. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's about 7 that are pretty. I mean, yeah, Klauser there too at 175. I mean, oof.
7.5. You got Gunnar.
Yeah, you got
7.5
Gunnar.
Evansville.
Yeah, I mean you got Dickman, Henderson, Schaefer. Yeah, oh man.
We need a bookie, man. Who's good at keeping book out of here? I feel like Eric Newell looks like a guy that can keep a book.
Yeah.
I don't know why. He's never told me anything about gambling, but I feel like that guy could be a bookie.
Yeah, that'd be. Might have to. I'll look into it tomorrow maybe, and see if we can put an over under and see what they what people would think for those for all 4 semi-states.
Crown Point's been dominating the last 2 weeks. I think we said this. I don't know if we did. Like, do you think there's been any team ever on a regional to get over 300 points?
Very, very rarely, if at all. I mean, that's a lot of points in an 8-man tournament.
Yeah, I think. That's a ton. They put 14 in the finals. I don't think they're putting. Like, I would say. What were they saying online? They think they're getting 11 through. Not they. A single person said that they think they're pulled up for getting 11, right? 11. Yes. I could see them getting 11. I mean, I don't know if they're putting 11 in the finals.
Yeah.
But just on rankings, like you could probably make a good case for 10.
Yeah. We have to really look at these rankings a little bit closer and see what we have. Man, that's because you almost have to have it add up to 14. But man, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how it happens. I really can't see. I mean, we counted off 10. That I would not be surprised if they have 10. I mean, that'd be a lot, and I'd be like, holy cow! But they have
qualifying 10 or 10.
No. I mean, I'm talking. I guess I was talking champions, but yeah, Crown Point getting 10 is probably pretty much a, that I would be disappointed if it was less than 10 to state.
Yeah. So what they had 11. They had 11 11 champs, and their 3 runners up were Baca, right? Sessa, and
White.
Reading.
Or Reading.
No, Reading. No, White won it.
Yeah, right. Yes. Yeah.
And I think Reading got in a good spot. Sessa has a tough match. Baca has a tough match. Probably Baca has the toughest of the 3, right? I would say Czar is probably the toughest of the 3 runners up.
Yeah. And Captor has a tough match too.
Yeah, Caden Smith's tough. He's really tough. And then probably tough in the cage too. Those guys look like, I think they do some cage fighting too.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. Should be fun to watch. I'll be at Fort Wayne, and I'm sure our phones will be blowing up all day long. So.
Oh yeah. This is the weekend we'll get the most messages, more than state. Like the board gets crazy the Saturday night of state, but this week with like draws and like anything happens, those first 2 rounds, like one and done is like crazy.
Yeah.
And just one thing, man, like one roll through, one caught to your back, one headlock. We said it on the Evansville show. Jared Dunn beating Miller. Like I did not like. That's one of those things. Like, and that's what makes it exciting, though. It's like if you don't see it coming. I didn't see. And dude, I'll tell anybody. I'm not like afraid to admit when I'm wrong. I didn't see Thrine beating Frazier last year.
Yeah.
And like talking to like people that were in the mix that had wrestled Ryan that summer and stuff, and they said the same thing. So that makes it exciting for me because like if it goes exactly how I do it, like I'm gonna be like disappointed. I think that'll make me a disappointed wrestling fan. I want to be surprised too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. It's fun to watch the upsets. It's fun to watch the underdogs. I mean, it's not that our pick'ems are gonna be different, and then also, it's that's why you play the game or wrestle the match or do whatever. You do that. People cheer when the upsets are happening. They don't. They also cheer when kids win, but it's the same. There's big roars when when Jesse got put to his back in the headlock in the finals. You could. Oh, yeah. I don't know if there was a lot of cheering, but it was just like a collective gasp.
Oh, yeah. I remember when Alex got put to his back. When Weinzaffel put Alex to his back, it was like almost like a gasp and then like a roar. It's crazy, and it's not like those guys. I don't think people are cheering against those guys, but like it's just the like, hey, that's the like uncertainty of it. Like, you want to see something you've never seen.
Yeah.
Like Jesse's probably one of the nicest 4-timers.
Yeah.
And he was wrestling a buddy. Like, that was this guy.
Yeah.
Like, and Matthew Kuntz went to go rip his head off and almost did.
Yeah, he almost did.
I mean, you were right there from not being a 4-timer. What is there? You said there was 11 4-timers?
10.
10. And that was pretty close to not,
Yeah.
Dude, it was, close. And to Jesse's effort, man, he's just a beast. He bridged out of it. He had a purple mark on his neck because Matthew almost ripped his head off, and
oh yeah,
just really good.
So anyway, we'll let you go, everyone go, and we will see you guys next Monday. So have a good one, and good luck to everyone wrestling.